Man, I'm still convinced that thing goes at different speeds each time I do it.
I was literally going to bring that up. Yeah.
It's really weird. The other thing I've always noticed with stuff like that, you know how like you get clocks mounted on the wall, and like most of the time they just like the second hand just ticks.
Yeah.
You know, very very mechanical. But there's some that are like really smooth and they just go around in a constant motion. I always think those ones go quicker. I don't know why.
I've always felt like cheat. It's like, what are you doing, moving around like that? Feels wrong. You've broken the laws.
Messes with my head. Anyway, you know, fuck the super chat. So we just spend an hour talking about clocks and stuff.
Yeah, man. Clocks.
Anyway, we're live. Hi, everyone.
Hello.
Here. This is probably my last live stream before I head off to Florida for Florida SuperCon to meet lots of lovely people, hopefully, and sign books and things like that. And that's going to be lovely, but we've got to catch up on the super chats before I go because I don't want to leave stuff hanging. That just wouldn't be right, would it?
No.
And fortunately, I'm joined by my lovely co-host MauLer to get through the outstanding super chats. So, yeah, thank you for joining me, sir.
No problemo. Sorry, I missed the last one. I did give it a listen though. You said nice things about me in the opening part of it. Yeah, really you said something like you're not sure if you said about covering Prestige. You were like, oh, I'd be interested to talk to MauLer about it because he loves the details of things and stuff. And he's really good at pointing out. I was like, oh, so nice. I wasn't even there.
Yeah,
you believe it, guys.
I thought your like example was going to be like me just saying like, well, you know, of all the people I could kill, like MauLer is probably fairly low down the list.
Too much point killing him. Yeah,
it would be interesting to cover that with you, but man, I feel like I'd have to watch it about 6 times in a row to get myself straight on everything that happens because we
definitely
a lot of detail, I would imagine.
Dude, it is genuinely a movie that YMS said this about a few of them, but like it's not quite a film you've seen until you see it for the second time. There's so much stuff that you would have missed, and that's not your fault. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
It's a dense movie.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a dense viewer, so
yeah.
There we go. But anyway, so shall we go through these super chats? See what we can get out of them.
I just realized today for the new ones that get sent in, they're probably going to be about the Marvel news, isn't it?
Yeah, which makes me tired just thinking about it.
Dude, when they did the announcement, I was like, great. So I'm going to talk about that probably on our catch-up, and then on Real BBC, and then on EFAB. Just like how much sludge we got coming. Way more sludge.
I'm gonna try and avoid it. Like if super chats come in about specific movies, I guess we'll talk about it and we'll have to answer them.
Mm-hmm.
But the only thing I'll
draw the line in general Marvel talk.
Yeah, the only thing I will say to you is I did like the trailer for Wakanda Forever.
I've got a lot of praise for it. I haven't seen it yet. I was going to save it.
Yeah, I mean, the movie itself may still turn out to be garbage, and I'm on record as not being particularly impressed with Black Panther. But it did seem pretty respectful to Chadwick Boseman and kind of summoned up that emotion of, you know, him being gone and how do you fill that void and what's going to happen next. So it seemed okay. I'll give them that. And I hope they at least sort of do him justice, but no idea what the film itself will turn out to be.
With how I've like covered things in the past, people get an expectation. So, for example, I don't think there will be a Star Wars movie that gets released that I won't cover. There will be Marvel movies that release that I don't cover, but some people are like, oh, is he covering the new Jurassic, movie because you did Fallen Kingdom? It's like, I kind of wanted to, but I just didn't have the time. And then it's like, so what about, you did Black Panther? You gonna do Black Panther 2? And it's like, I don't know, man. Like, for what I've heard of Wakanda Forever, it looks like the script is a nightmare. They got like redone several times. Obviously, they've got their problems with is it Letitia Wright is her name?
Yeah, she said the wrong things. She expressed wrong things, MauLer.
Went the wrong places or whatever. Yeah, I don't know. Like, so I don't know what that movie's gonna look like when it's finished. But yeah, follow your passion. That's what I always recommend people, and that's what I do. So sometimes you don't get follow-ups to whatever, but sometimes you do. It's the newest thing I'm working on is technically an IP I've never touched before. Technically. You know what it is.
Yeah.
So, but funnily enough, there are a couple of open bar clips in this already.
Oh, nice.
Literally moving clips as we speak. Look at me, workhorse.
That is impressive. It was funny as well because it was that realization of, wow, Phase 4 has come to an end. What the fuck is it all about?
Oh, I think we've talked about this before, but it's become very clear. Phase 4 was just can we put anything out while we're sorting out the next phase? Yeah, we could put out a phase. Like, okay. Yeah. It's the stepping stone phase, the one no one gives a shit about.
Yeah, kind of. It's just destined to be forgotten.
Anyway. Oh, just one more thing. I swear to God, I'll be quick. Just Phase 4. The fact that Phases 4 and 5 are supposed to be the multiverse saga, or Phase 4, 5, 6, whatever. To me, that really does seem like the saga of we're gonna do a bunch of crazy shit and then say none of it counts because it's all in different universes. Shut up.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, Gary had said that it's going to build up to Secret War, which I think is like a big multiversal conflict, which I guess will give them excuses to bring back anyone that they want. Really. Anyone who needs a big paycheck can come back. Anyway, I will try and go through these super chats and see what we got here. So, Lord Metalman says, "Evening, gents. Recently watched season 3 of The Boys, and oh boy, you can tell where Seth Rogen got his hands on it, and it's certainly becoming a joke now." So yeah, I don't know what his involvement was in this. He's a producer, right? Choice.
But the scene with him in it is pretty fucking weird. He's just trying to wank over an e-girl, basically.
That's basically him playing himself, I would imagine.
I don't know, what he expected. Like, everyone was just going to make that joke. It's just like, yeah, seems suitable. He's doing a good job of that.
He really played the character well. Does he smoke some weed and laugh about it?
I don't think there's any weed in the scene, unfortunately. So,
never mind. Carrier Raccoon City Story says, "I said fuck it to anything Resident Evil related after the letdown that was the Resident Evil 3 remake and made my own Resident Evil story." And that is good stuff indeed. But Resident Evil 3 remake is a really weird one, right? Because I've played it through about 3 times now, and I hated it at first, and I thought it was so shit. But it's like, weirdly, it gets tiny, incrementally better each time I play it. I don't know what it is. Maybe because it's so short, it's just like one of those like fun little, games that you could polish off in one evening or something. I don't know.
All I heard about it was that it was really, really short.
Yeah. Graphically, it's all fine. The mechanics are not too bad. It's really forgiving with ammo and weapons. Like you're pretty much falling over ammunition in it. But yeah, like it's not too challenging. If you just wanted a game that will kind of while away your evening, I suppose you can play it. Like I say, it's like each time I do play it, it's just a tiny little bit less shit. I don't know. But yeah, I still get the criticisms for it. Tommy Reviews says it's really funny how they race swapped a villain that was obsessed and was a product with eugenics. Resident Evil was worse than Halo starring Jimmy Rings. Yeah,
Jimmy Rings.
This is the thing. Like Wesker, not initially, but like they eventually morphed him into a kind of like Ubermensch who's like, he's blonde and he's chiseled and perfect and everything, and he's obsessed with perfecting the human race and all that. He sees himself as superior. So it doesn't quite fit with what they've then tried to do with him in this show. And it's really sad and weird to see Lance Reddick dressed up as Blade. That's literally what he does. And it's like
pictures, yeah.
He is, I mean, he's a cool actor. He's like, I really like him, but his coolness is not the same kind of coolness that, say, Wesley Snipes has.
Right.
He's a much more like analytical, kind of cold, intellectual sort of actor who's best in a suit, basically, like just spitting out really witty dialogue at people. He's not the kind of guy who wears a leather trench coat and sunglasses and does all kind of crazy kung fu stuff.
I need to rewatch Blade.
Blade's so much fun. Blade 2 is great. Like that they really nailed it with that one. Like I think that was the high point, and then Blade 3 just kind of was a mess.
Blade 3 sputtered out, and so the end of the IP happened.
And that's why we end up with like the new Disney-fied version. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Can't wait. Red Muskrat says, "Have you seen a French horror thriller called High Tension, and will you review it?" I haven't. so I can't say if I will. And that's all I can say really to that one, I'm afraid, mate.
Yeah, I've not seen it.
Snape's Shape Snatch said, "Greetings, Drinker. Would you consider doing another video on the Expanse now that the show is finished and go into more depth than the last time? Cheers." Yeah, good question, actually. So I kind of kept my plot analysis really vague because it was like a Drinker recommends, so I didn't want to spoil things. But now that the show's done, yeah, it might be interesting to go into the sort of deeper themes.
Oh my God.
Themes.
Dude, I love how single-handedly the TLJ fans almost ruined themes for everyone.
The themes.
I think both of our fan bases like cringe a little bit whenever someone says themes. It's like that's not necessary. They've ruined it. They kept saying like no themes.
To this day, I try to keep that word out of my reviews. Like as far as I'll go is like ideas instead.
Yeah, it's like it just disappoints me, right? Because it's like I don't think the way they used it was ever what it was intended for. It was supposed to like be a binding sort of idea that is in the film. Like fucking Unforgiven, I would talk to you forever about its themes, but I don't know if I would call them its themes to make sure nobody misunderstands. You know, I'm talking about what ideas the film has about gunslinging in the West and stuff. Not fucking. It's not a word to imply I'm trying to ignore its flaws because it has ideas in it, which is what they fucking ruined that word for. Ugh. Yeah. 2017 they did that. RIP themes.
Yeah, I love this idea that you can just like praise a movie for what it was reaching for and what it was trying to do rather than what it actually does.
That was what Destiny said when I was talking about Star Wars. He said that you have to admit, like, you know, the prequels were worse than the sequels because they were going for something and failed, while the sequels were just trying to be like superhero movies, so whatever. It's like the fact that the prequels tried to do something is why they're worse. Apparently, I was just like, what? How does this?
Yeah, how dare you try? Like, yeah, fucking hell.
I would way prefer something try and fail than something not succeed at anything and never have any ideas. Surely that's the worst thing ever. Something being bad and didn't even want to go anywhere.
Well, yeah, I mean, and particularly when what they actually do is just pilfer what's come before them and just recycle it. Like that's even worse because it's like you're doing the same thing but doing it worse. You know, you're doing it badly.
What's funny is I do think that applies to the three films in the sequel trilogy a little bit, but at the same time, it's like Force Awakens encompasses that. TLJ is this like gross, like actually no, we're gonna go this way, and then Rise of Skywalker. I don't even know how to describe that thing.
That's I would describe it in one word: desperation.
Please buy us the ticket, please.
Yeah, it's the death of ideas. I've heard other people talk about this, and one guy who was in my the comment section of one of my videos, he compared J.J. Abrams to Michael Bay in terms of like they're both probably about the same level in terms of creative ability and stuff. But the difference is I think Michael Bay kind of knows his limitations and he knows his niche and basically just happy to create dumb action movies. Whereas J.J. Abrams, he desperately wants to be seen as the new Steven Spielberg. You know, he wants to be a director with like real critical acclaim and respect and recognition. But he's not. He's just a purveyor of glossy, good-looking garbage. That's all he can make, really. So it's he's like a guy who's got ideas above his station, and so that influences what he tries to do, and it's just really sad to see it happen. Next one is Stephen Bobo, who says, I assume he was trying to say razor fist, but he says razor face. I love and respect your work, but I have to question your sanity. Why the hell do you say that the Final Fantasy VII Remake is worse than the original game and Final Fantasy 13? I don't know where he said that or when, but that's an interesting one. I mean,
well, hey, you know,
I suppose in its entirety, it is worse than the original Final Fantasy VII because it's only like 1/10 of the game.
What I think is funny is a lot of creators are known by different fans for their most controversial or interesting takes, and sometimes that's all they'll know. So someone will come onto a stream and someone will be like, oh, I hope they talk about that, what that person's known for having said, because like one of the things people were asking me why I didn't ask about was Razor Fist thinks Aliens is bad, I'm pretty sure, which is one of the most controversial opinions I have ever heard. But
I don't know how you could even. Yeah, I don't even know what the underpinning of that would be. I'd be interested to hear his argument.
I would say like it's worth looking into because I can't remember if that's what I was told is what I'm trying to say. But some people were like, why wasn't that brought up? And I was just like, I don't know, because we're fucking talking about other things. I don't know. Didn't come up.
Yeah, I mean that's a big discussion, I guess. And
yeah,
it's not the sort of thing that you can just drop into a conversation because that's the conversation derailed for the next 2 hours. Then,
yeah,
so, yeah, it's kind of I can see why that was just left for the time being. Obsidian Mug says, "Hey Razorfist, I just got the Long Moonlight, and I've got to ask, how do you pronounce the main character's name?" Oh, I'm not going to be able to answer that one. Should we try it?
What's it spell as?
I'm going to see what the main character is actually called. So, it's written by Fist Razor. Right. So, not getting the main character's name anywhere. Fuck. All right. Okay, I think the main character is called Xerdes. Xerdes. It's got to be Xerdes, isn't it?
That's probably what I would go with.
Yeah, I'll go with that. So there you go. From one author to another, Xerdes, I have declared is how you pronounce it. So next one. Now that we've answered that one, Douglas Burton says, shows you where we're at as a society when words like woman and man are more offensive than mutant. Gender neutral is morphing to anti-gender. Yeah, so now we don't have the X-Men, we've got the mutants. Great.
Hey, man.
We wouldn't want to offend anyone, so yeah, I guess it makes sense. Everything's got to be just an amorphous blob of grey nothingness.
I think I was going to mention it on the show, but I forgot what the line was. Do you remember what the line was in Dark Fate, where she says, "With all the women doing work around here, we should be called the X-Women."
Yeah,
it's like
that went down well, didn't it?
It's not a well-written line at all. It's not like a good line in universe. Like, it makes you look like an idiot who can't speak very well, and then like it doesn't land in the scene or with the audience. It's just like it's all around just a really shit piece of dialogue.
I know. And to put it into the trailer as well, it's like that was a very bad idea.
Yeah.
Someone asked me as well if I've seen Nope. Yeah, it was you, Satvik Madineni. No, I haven't seen Nope. I've got no massive desire to see it, to be honest with you. Yeah, I didn't really love Us, and yeah, Jordan Peele, like, he seems so
insane.
obsessed with bringing his like politics into it. I don't really know if he's even capable of telling a normal story anymore.
Yeah, I'd say as a creator, that's all he's got is the political social angle, which isn't worthless. It's just that I just don't think he's any good at intertwining his stories in anymore. After I saw, dude, Us, I was shocked at how much he didn't care that nothing made any sense at all.
Oh man, I came out of that movie just with so many fucking questions about how any of this stuff was meant to work.
Yeah. Baffling.
But yeah, it's almost like you're not meant to think about it. It's like, well, it's all about the themes, you see. Glib Facsimile said the same reason why Patrick Stewart did Picard is the same reason that most people don't like to retire. People don't want to give up on their old life, and they certainly don't want to be old and useless. I mean, yeah, we kind of talked about this like a little bit on the stream. I can kind of get as an actor why you would want to keep doing it, because it's not like working in some fucking tedious office job. Like, it is, I guess, fun, and it's high profile, and it gets you to do exciting things later in life. But I guess there comes a point as well where, sometimes you're just not physically capable of doing the roles that you need to do anymore. And kind of feels like Patrick Stewart's at that point, really. He's kind of frail, and he doesn't really command the, authority and strength and conviction like he did in Next Generation. And yeah, he's just, I don't know, man. Like when I watched that now when I watched a bit of Picard. It didn't feel like I was watching Jean-Luc Picard. It felt like I was watching Patrick Stewart. The performance had completely changed, and Patrick's a sentimental old lovey, I'm sure, and that just comes across now in his portrayal of the character. It's like he's just being himself now on screen.
I can't. It's that voice difference for me that really pulls me out of thinking of him as a character rather than this man who is really getting on and just probably shouldn't be forced to do these roles. Like it was the same for the Doctor Strange appearance he had.
Yeah. Grand Moff Twerkin is exactly right. Shatner somehow has more energy and kind of comes across as more like sprightly and sharp than Patrick Stewart does. And I'm sure there's like at least a 10-year age gap between them. People age at different rates, I guess. Fucking Shatner's going to outlive all of us, I think.
And if you compare the old dialogue to the new, it's stock for good old Patrick. And I'm assuming he's going to announce his retirement any day now.
I don't know, man.
Sit down, man. Just sit down.
He's going to keep acting until they have to carry him off.
Because they've done Picard season 3 now, right? Is it ending with 3?
Yes, season 3. Yeah, they did a sort of teaser trailer for it the other day, and they're getting the band back together. All the characters from the original show. Kind of feels like a desperation move a little bit.
You're going to tune in, right? Right.
I mean, this is the thing, right? If they'd done this in season 1, they would have really got my interest. It's like, cool, we'll get to see everyone reunited again, because that's all people really want. They just want a TNG reunion show. Let them come together, like, get in charge of a starship again, go off on one last big epic adventure, save the day, and then sail off into the sunset. It's not difficult. But, we got 2 seasons of just absolute abject misery and apologies and just sadness. And, yeah, it's going to be hard to pull back from that, I think.
Well, yeah.
So, next one is NC, who says, are you writing your book's movie or get any say? So, no, I haven't been working on the script for that, but I have been working on the script for a Ryan Drake short film, which is getting worked on by a different company, I guess, because this is like a little standalone project, but we've collaborated on the script together. It's going to be a little short thing, 15, 20 minutes, something like that. Ryan Drake gets to go on a little adventure, and we're probably going to look if we can maybe do a little bit of crowdfunding. It's not going to be hugely expensive to do, but yeah, we're quite excited about doing something like that. So we'll see what comes of it. Anyway, I'll make more announcements about that when we've got plans firmed up. But yeah, in terms of the full sort of redemption movie that's getting done, that's all out of my hands. That's a very much a separate thing, so I'm not working on that. Sonny said, Drinker, watch White Collar and Silicon Valley. White Collar is about an FBI agent and a con man solving crimes, and Silicon Valley is about a tech startup company. Both are hilarious and recommended. Yeah, I've watched a bit of Silicon Valley, actually. That's pretty good. Yeah, who's the dude who's in that? Did he not get cancelled? Hold on. It is fucking TV show. Right. Yeah, TJ Miller. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
He was in, the Daredevil. Not Daredevil. Deadpool, that's the one. Yeah, but I think he got cancelled for doing bad things. But yeah, it was pretty funny, Silicon Valley, actually. His character was really good. Next one is Stuart Easton says, Drinker, if you watch something actually good on Netflix, watch The Sea Beast. Good story, good characters, and beautiful animation. All-round good fun film. All right, fair enough. Nathaniel Updike says, anyone looking for a great X-Men story should check out God Loves, Man Kills by Chris Claremont. Okay, good recommendation. Psychic Girl says, even if they wanted to change now, it would take years to see the results. All the stuff airing now was filmed at least a year or two ago. It's too late. I mean, yeah, there's definitely a lag time on all this stuff. That's why it takes a long time for changes to take effect. I think I mentioned it on the stream the other night. Like, I was talking with Mark Miller when I did an interview with him, and he was saying like Top Gun Maverick really like surprised a lot of people in the industry, and it's really started to change perceptions about what they want from movies and how they want to do them. And there seems to be a general recognition of, the Marvel model is starting to fade out a bit, and maybe this is the kind of thing they want to be aiming for and investing more in future.
I mean,
whether it gets to that stage, I don't know.
We're all looking at that light in the tunnel, just like, are we gonna get there? Are we gonna get a bit of ratio of good movies to bad at some point? That'd be nice.
It's weird because every so often we'll get a little run of good films, and I'd think, oh, this is it. This is the tide turning, and then boom, you get hit with something else that's shit.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure 2019. I felt like we had a whole bunch that impressed me a little bit. Like it was like Lighthouse, Parasite, Ford v Ferrari, Marriage Story,
Joker. I think
Joker. Yeah. That's what I mean. I was like, oh man, 2019 not looking so bad. And then 2020, I think, was a disaster. There was like loads of really bad shit that came out.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, The Father was in 2019. At least its original release was then as well.
Here's a question as well. You've seen The Grey Man? I haven't seen it.
I've seen. So I had food 2 days ago, and I watched the first third. I had food today and watched the second third. It's a dumb movie. Like the premise is basically there are assassins that are trained, where they like the government have a sector where they train criminals to be assassins, and they're called the Grey Men. You're like, oh, okay, all right. What do they do? Premise is Grey Man 4 is like rogue. Grey Man 6 is sent to kill him, and then Grey Man 6 realizes he's gone rogue for good reason, so he goes rogue, and then someone else is sent to kill him. That's basically the whole film.
Right.
You could say, oh, well, it sounds pretty basic. Could it be fun? It's like, I don't know. Some of the action in it has been so absurd. It's hard to like. I don't know. You might like it. Everyone's saying it's terrible. I thought maybe it would play well with some people. I don't know.
I mean, yeah, did the Russos not say like this is what they did Endgame for, so that they would get this as a back end deal? Like this would get financing or something.
Was it? I didn't even know that.
Apparently, yeah. Like that was their deal. But like, I assume then if this is a passion project for them, it's like, well, it's bound to be good. Like they would have put everything into it, but maybe not.
Writing is like,
yeah. I don't know about the Sandman. I haven't seen the trailer for that, I'm afraid.
Yeah, and I don't know anything about the Sandman in general. The story, I mean.
Yeah, it was directed by the Russos. So yeah, there we go. Anyway, so the next one is Ken Your Stunt said Ripper joins the panel. Toxicity reaching optimum premium. Review Rip's book. So I have something that's worth listening to. Panel starts nodding. Yeah, so that comes out in a couple of, is it a month or so from now when it gets released? Ripper's first book.
I'm not 100% sure.
It's definitely not out yet, so I think they're in the full their warehouse and everything and getting ready to ship it.
Someone I meant to ask him, was he considering ever doing like a I don't even know what format you'd call this. Do you know when you scan all the pages and then you like have like dramatic zooms and sort of sound effects and then actually narration and voice acting, that sort of format for comics into a video?
So it's not like an audiobook, it's like almost like an audio play.
I'd be curious if you'd ever consider doing that, because that's another way to sort of promote them in a sense. They could be the digital versions. Well, not really. More so just YouTube videos, I guess.
Yeah, that's actually quite interesting. I've never seen that done myself, but like it's an interesting format, I guess. To
motion comics, someone said that's probably what it's called. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll need to ask him about that. He seems to be very much at the phase of like, anything's possible right now because he's got so much like momentum behind it. I guess he could really do whatever he wants with it. I mean, shit, man, give him a few years, you'll have feature films coming out.
Hell yeah.
And I would like to see it, to be honest, because I trust him more than I would Marvel or Disney.
MauLer looking for a voice acting gig. As soon as we're done here, I got to do another 3-hour recording session for my own bloody videos.
You have got to be cast as some kind of like
evil character.
Villain.
Oh fuck yeah! Dude, make it happen. I'd do that.
Blinks SJM says, nah, it'll be fine. Thank you very much. Torgo the White says, long live the Flipper verse. I'm down with that. Dr. Wolfstar says, let's be honest, Ripper is going to shove conservative views down the readers' throats. We all know he will. He's definitely not apolitical. I mean, he says he's not. He's not going to do that stuff. And his political beliefs aren't really going to factor into it. So,
well, see, and I think I can't remember exactly what you've said on this topic, but like I think there's an interesting conversation to be had that when you tell a story, some level of political point of view's got to be in there, right? And it's like, I guess so. Like if you have, let's just say, like Arcane, a lot of people were like, what's the political message in that? And it's like, well, you got there's a class struggle in that throughout in lots of different. But do you feel it goes one way or the other, or do you feel it's trying to present many perspectives? And that's what I think usually is the key, right?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, that's the thing. Like, that's tackling political issues, but then it slips into the realm of propaganda when you just take a side and say, like, well, the poor working classes are portrayed as, just downtrodden, but they're absolute angels who just want a better life for themselves, and the rich ruling class are just, rich,
especially when
selfish assholes. It's like, well, then you're just preaching at people. You're not showing a balanced view of things.
And I always find that consistency is a way to discover when that's occurring, because you should be like, wait, you just told me Iron Man didn't pay any of the Avengers? Why would you tell me that? And you're like, oh, because you want the narrative to be that he can't get a loan.
Yeah.
That he can't get, and it's like, I see. You're fucking up continuity because you got something you want to push right now. Which is, again, that's pretty much every writer. Even if you want to be pushing something as simple as, I want my hero to die here heroically, but it doesn't make any sense. Like, everyone's pushing something.
I mean, it makes me wonder as well sometimes, like the way people read into certain things, they can transform what was a relatively benign event or a character or whatever into something completely different because they projected their own, political views onto things. Like the news media are terrible for that. Any kind of professional journalist is just so desperate to push any kind of their own messaging, their own beliefs and stuff, that they'll just find it in anything, basically.
It's that whole thing is a nightmare to talk about as well, because it can go the other way where you're like, everyone agrees, oh, that means that, of course, and then the writer's like, huh? Or like, oh, Hunger Games, obviously you were inspired by Battle Royale, and didn't the writer say she doesn't know what Battle Royale is? And it's like, really? It's like,
I'd love to resurrect J.R.R. Tolkien for a couple of days and just send him to like one of those seminars for the Tolkien scholars where they're covering in fascinating topics about his work, like, transgenderism in Gondor and, the hidden gay subtext between Sam and Frodo's relationship. Like, what would his take on that be?
See, I think that he would take enough issue with Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings. He'd probably be like, not sure about this, especially because of the fact that the format is so crazy new and amazing. Like, I don't even know how he'd react to all that. The stuff that's happening right now, I don't even know that he would consider responding. He'd just be like, this isn't even like, what am I supposed to do with this?
Yeah, if he was told, like, so this is your descendants have sold the rights to Amazon to let them do this. Yeah, I think he would just immediately die again out of sheer horror. Yeah, it's just it's weird stuff. It's
someone in chat said he'd go back to war.
He's what?
He'd go back to war. Like, fuck this.
It's like the World War I was more fun than this shit. Yeah, there you go. That's the perfect summing up of where we're at now. They would tell Tolkien that he's wrong. Yeah. What does it take to become a Tolkien scholar? I would genuinely love to know.
Tell everybody you're a Tolkien scholar.
That seems to be it, yeah. Or like collect 10 crisp packets and trade it in to become a Tolkien scholar or something. That's all you got. Okay, next one is Your Barmy, who says, always try and take care of the people that want to believe in you. Good advice, indeed. Derek says, Ripper, I need a cover A. Any more plans? I think he'd run out, hadn't he? There's basically selling out of everything. Crusader Saracen says, I'd kill to see a Razor-written Ripperverse published cowboy western or historical World War I graphic novel. That sounds fucking awesome.
Do it.
Yeah, get it done. We'll make it happen. Fight the Club says, a question for the whole panel. If you could do one MCU or Star Wars project, what would it be, regardless of how obscure or oddball it may be? So I guess that's like not redoing stuff that's already happened, but just, you could do anything in this universe. What would you want to
do? So am I picking from character stuff we know, or just anything I want?
Anything you want. And I think within the MCU or Star Wars, basically. So a character which exists, I guess.
So if I'm using people who already exist, I'm going to gun for Marvel instead of Star Wars, because to be honest with you, I want to leave everyone alone in Star Wars at this point. Of the few characters that even are left undamaged, rather with when you have the MCU, it's like, what about Magneto? Maybe we can get an MCU version of him, sort him out before they destroy him. Doctor Doom. I'm almost picking in a sense of who do I want to protect, because again, I get to protect one character. And at that point, you're like, I need a big, influential one, probably, that I know they're going to screw up. Because as soon as Doctor Doom or Doctor Doom's getting baited in, I don't know if you consider this a spoiler, but apparently he's going to be in the end credits of either Black Panther 2 or something else. I'm not looking forward to it, man.
Just, no. I mean, I think this is the problem that we've got now, where our default mindset for any of these projects is just, it's going to suck. And I feel bad that that's the stage it's gotten to, but like we're just going off past experience here at this point. It'll be interesting when we get to that point of like there's been more bad MCU movies than good ones. What will the general public's perception be of it then? Will they even care, or will they just keep going to see it?
I wonder what's going to happen when they run out of characters to make everyone cream over.
They won't, though. I mean, you've got like 60 years of comic books to draw off.
Yeah, but surely, like, Retagonal Man, people are going to be like, who the fuck is that? That Gary might be like, oh, well, he's a guy from... like, I can explain that. What I wonder is that maybe they'll be able to forever go, because by the time they run out of characters that are mostly recognizable, they can then just redo... Here comes another Iron Man. Here comes...
Well, yeah, I mean, look what they've done with the X-Men. We essentially had almost 20 years of X-Men movies in one form or another, and it's only been a couple of years since the last one, and they're just like, yeah, we're rebooting it. We're doing it again.
Yeah, X-Men and Spider-Man have both been rebooted like 3 times.
Yeah. Will they eventually get to that point where it's like, well, we've got a rebooted Captain America, a rebooted Thor, and a rebooted Iron Man. We're just going to do the Avengers and the Infinity Saga all over again.
That might actually, that could happen. Like, even 20 years down the line, there'll be like the new timeline for the Infinity Saga.
Because there will be like just a new generation of cinema goers by that point who just like, I'll give it a go. It's like people like us will just be like quietly dying inside. Please, no more.
Yeah.
Scott Christy Jones says breakfast TV show tomorrow in the UK. Pro Ripper. Nice. I don't know. What is he getting interviewed or something? Seamus McCallahan says Ripper may be hit with N-bombs more than Justice Thomas. Yeah, he was getting a lot of hate. It's like, how dare you be successful and not toe the line that we tell you to toe?
It is pretty rude to be successful. Okay.
I think it's really funny, like their reactions, because you could almost like sense the rage in them. It's like we can't control them and we can't cancel them no matter what we say and do, and it just made them infuriated. And they were so vicious about it. And when they're throwing the N-word at him from people who are supposed to be like tolerant and progressive, it's like it's bad shit, man. Your Barmy says, Eric, thank you for not chopping off your junk. I mean, that's the default position for most guys, I would say. Pickle Rickle says, Rippaverse Times Square billboard, own that city next to Roberto Jr. Yeah, get it done. If Tim Cass can get a billboard in Times Square, then he absolutely should. Mr. Tickle Trunk says, Razor's right about Rich Johnson and his name. He's such a unit that in an alternate universe, his name is Prick Phallus McPecker or Schlong Penis. What the fuck? Samael 527 says, MauLer, prove that you're not racist by saying, you know what? I actually think it was 12 million. What the fuck?
I never know what these super chatters are up to, so I'll just opt to say nothing.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Black Bull says, Japanese gives criticism on Resident Evil Netflix. Someone in Japan, do you hear a whistle sound? Yeah, the Japanese were not impressed, and rightly so. Great Cthulhu says, if they tell you you won't succeed, don't try. Do the opposite of what they say. I was told I'd never release a story. Now I have 4 novels under my belt. Kudos to Eric. Invidia Gloria come est. Yeah, that's good advice. People just don't like to see others succeed, I guess. And it's like that crab bucket mentality, isn't it? Like, someone's starting to climb out, you got to pull them back in. Brett, this is a tough one. Werdisheim says, what are your thoughts and worries for the new Robocop game? So apparently that's meant to be quite good, isn't it? It's like the trailer's meant to look awesome.
I am completely unaware of it.
There is a Robocop game coming, and the trailer made it look pretty good. So yeah, I don't know in terms of worries and stuff. Like I've not really cared that much about Robocop for a long time. I just hope they do a good job, I guess. Make it nice and violent and gory like the first movie. Bit of satire in there. And if he gets to shoot a guy in the dick, then all to the good. Ragnar Danaskjold says, Drinker, I found an error. You have no video called The Drinker Recommends. Filth. I hope this will be rectified post-haste. Same rules apply. I can but try. What can I say? ARC says, I've never read a comic book before, but I bought ISOM #1. In this period of terrible writing and nonsensical stories, we need to support quality content in all mediums. Also, the terminal list is great. Only 3 episodes left. Good stuff, man. I'm glad you enjoyed it. I found it to be pretty good. It's not going to win any Oscars or anything, and it's not going to turn the world upside down, but just a solid action thriller. It almost feels like a luxury these days.
Yeah.
Jen McMahon says, well, at least with Marvel and DC fanatics, we can all be thankful to them for creating a new race called Green with Envy. Indeed. Sam Flower says, I remember first subscribing to Rippa a couple of years ago. If you told me then that he'd have be on stream with the Long Man and Drinker, I'd have been happy enough. But add meteoric success and I'm in heaven. Absolutely. I mean, it's just great to see guys like him doing really well. Long may it continue. Bill Durham says legacy comics matter. Yeah, I think they do more than ever now. Daniel Monroe says, damn fine stream so far, gents. Amazing work, Ripper. Congratulations. You guys are the reason that people can start believing in what they want to do. Cheers and have a couple on me. Thank you very much, my friend.
Thank you.
Your Barmy says, he isn't the upstart. We've established him and the terror will proceed. Absolutely. Peter Gorhamby says, manga also have a vetting process when they come over to the West so that we get what is already successful in Japan. That's true, I suppose. Ian So Forth gave me £50, so thank you very much, man. That's very much appreciated. I'll drink to you. The Horrific Podcast says, ISOM 1 and Dark Harvest have been ordered. This is how we protest. Redirect our money to those that deserve it. Thank you very much, and I hope you enjoyed Dark Harvest, man. Appreciate it. Stunner900 says, NYJDs should publish their own album. Fair play. Grand Wazoo says, hail Drinker and hail panel. Kudos to your 2 legendary streams in 1 week. Get Mark Miller and Eric for a collab stream. That would be awesome, actually. I know that Mark knows about Eric, and he's very impressed with what he's done and what he's achieved. So yeah, it'd be quite cool to hear an industry veteran talking to Eric, who's just breaking into it now. Yeah, good stuff. Next one is Great Cthulhu, who says, what is the Nimbus? A sense of being legitimate. Published 4 novels with Random House because of it. I'm an idiot, not stacking shelves, though. Okay. Yeah, I think they're talking about, like, what's the draw of conventional publishing. And yeah, like, I suppose there's a prestige associated with it. You know, to get published through an actual publishing house, it's like, well, it's seen as more legitimate than self-publishing, but it's not always more successful because you're very much just a small cog in a very big machine. Jürgen Halfhand says, when I got my first writing gig at 25 years old, I Jerry Maguired everything at the restaurant I worked at. The gig lasted for 2 weeks and I made 3K, begged for my job back. Yeah, it sucks, man. I'm sorry for you. But
yeah,
that's the nature of the business, I suppose. It's like I was talking about the other night. It's pretty fucking unforgiving. John Orchard says, I just want to be the next Will Jordan. Cheers. Who is this man? I have no idea who you're talking about. Sounds shit, though. Daniel Monroe says, top level chat, guys. Just to add something from the self-publishing side, I chose that route because I wanted to learn how to do it all and without anyone else telling me what needs to happen on my own story. Yeah, I mean, that's fair enough.
Yeah.
You know, you get more creative freedom that way. I think the problems can be that you pick up a lot of bad habits when there's no one to vet your work and there's no one to edit it. And a professional editor can definitely help just to trim things down a bit. But yeah, the downside is you don't have as much control on the end product. And yeah, like I say, there's no guaranteed success there. Dumars said, just got my copy of The Long Moonlight in the mail today. Come in the house and immediately see Razor in an open bar. It must be fate. There you go. It's a small world indeed. 97 Pusum says, hey Drinker, I've got a question for you. What do you think about me calling myself radical thinker? I'm an Arab. Fair enough. Yeah, go for it, man. What's the worst they can do? Dwarven Bushcraft says, Drinker, will you be working with SBT again? Who's SBT?
I guess that's a no then.
I mean, I feel like I should know the answer to this one. Chat, you can help me out on this. Out of all the people that I've had on Open Bar and you know, happy hour and everything, who the hell is SBT?
Let's find out.
Yeah. Give it a few seconds. Star Bars theory. I like that. Special boat team. Santa's big stomach. Super big titties. No one knows. Sheila's big tits.
Sex bot Tatiana.
Sally be tripping. Fuck, I don't know. Unless they mistyped or something like that. Yeah, no idea. Social bloated Tyrannosaurus Rex.
Poor guy.
Oh, fuck it. Yeah, I guess I won't be then. Sorry. Mario Trulio says SJWs are like righteous politicians. They do the very thing they claim to hate. They bait everything not white, while righteous politicians bash everything not straight. Cheers, Drinker. That's where we're at, I guess. AD Warrior Legends says, "Love you guys. Just wanted to say that. Aw, that warms my heart."
Yeah.
97 Pusum says, "Young Ripper is modern day stand late plus mess chats." Thank you. X Purple Thighs says, "Earn your spot from an industry that is filled with people who fail upwards. An industry that is filled with people who fail upwards." I guess they felt that was important enough to say twice. But yeah, I get your point there.
Yeah, it's disheartening to know that people like JJ or Michael Aldred could just like literally fall over up a staircase somehow. But you know, there are still elements to the system that rewards really hard work. It exists. It's out there.
Ghost in the Craig gave me $1, so thanks, man. Rock Overlord says, awesome stream. Thank you very much. Brightest Day says, what a based panel. We were super fucking based, and I loved it. Double Brewski says, I shall own Marvel. That's pretty good, actually. Captain Apathy says, critics hate the Terminal List because they hate vigilante movies, but normal people love them. Examples, Peppermint and Death Wish. Indeed. Yeah, Peppermint. You know, there's always fun to be had in a good vigilante movie. Yeah, and it's just, it was a series that didn't have any politics in it, didn't try and push any messaging or anything. It was kind of just there to entertain you. Nice and easy. And I did like the author's response to all this when, you know, the critics were trying to slate it. He was like, yeah, fuck off. We didn't make it for you. We made it for fans and to pay tribute to people that have served their country. I was like, that's a pretty fucking solid response. Like, Ginger Ninja says, I got inspired by you guys and made my own channel called The Wheel Snakes. I've been doing it for 2 months now. I'm happy for you, Eric, on the Ripperverse. Nice one. Thank you very much. And good luck with your own channel. TKE says, hey guys, have any of you checked out Severance, a unique sci-fi concept devoid of current year politics and an intense finale? Highly recommended.
I've had it recommended a couple of times. I think it's on Apple TV. That's like the only reason why no one's seeing it.
Is it the one I'm thinking of? Oh, it's the TV series, right? Okay, yeah, I haven't seen that one.
I need to see it.
I'm sure there was like a movie called Severance as well.
Wasn't it British?
Yeah, it was like a horror movie, wasn't it?
But like a shitty one. I can't remember if it was any
good. Yeah, from 2006. Yeah, it's like a horror comedy. And it had that dude from Die Another Day in it. The villain.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, anyway, I know what you're talking about.
That's a rabbit hole. Josh Hyde says, similar to everyone needing a college degree for jobs that have nothing to do with your degree, it's the right way. I guess we're talking about getting published there. Yeah, I totally agree. The Happy Plague Doctor says, I have a 15-passenger high-top van. Can I deliver comics for the Ripperverse? Just kidding. I live in the middle of nowhere. Fair enough. I'm sure he's got it covered anyway. Vol, the producer, says, shout out to the guy driving Ripper's cargo van around the country for the rest of his life. He'll be busy. Amani Wilson says, oh no, Disney live-action Hercules movie to put modern spin on original story. Yeah, did you see that?
I didn't see that, no.
Yeah, so there's going to be
wait.
Reboot of Hercules.
The Twitter article, yeah, actually, sorry. No, I did I did see that. I thought you meant like it was part of the new announcements, but
yeah.
Yeah. I guess we're not surprised.
I mean, still not the 90s movie was basically a modern spin on that story anyway, but yeah, I think we know what it means when they say a modern spin. Hercules is probably going to be a woman now.
Once upon a time, it was kind of a cool, fine thing to have a modern spin on a story, but now it's like signaling to us like, oh, we're going to hate this, aren't we?
Oh, yes. Ghost in the Craig says, Drinker, Ripper, and Gundam are straight up my heroes. They are, and they're awesome guys. Max Steele, holy handfuls of back crap, Razor. According to Star Wars, you can't say slave in front of Ripper. Love you all. Yep. Boba Fett's ship. Can't call it Slave 1 anymore. Weefy117 says, hey, big fan of you all. I just want to stir the pot here. Razor and I are of the opinion that Aliens is vastly inferior to Alien. What do you guys think? I would disagree with you, sir.
I think both films are masterpieces. I prefer the second one because of the character work.
Yeah, they're trying to do different things. Like one's a horror film, one's a horror action movie, and you know I think they should be judged on that. And yeah, I wouldn't really want to. I wouldn't want to try and like put them up against each other because I think they complement each other really well. But yeah, if I had to pick one to watch again, it would be Aliens rather than the first one.
Yeah, I don't know how much this counts toward like anything, but I've watched Aliens like 1,000,000 times. I've watched Alien like a good 10 times.
Yeah, it's like one's just kind of overall more entertaining, I guess. Mike Manson says, Eric, congratulations on Rippaverse. Any plans to do some horror genre titles in the future? Razor, when's the next Marvel Mythos? Oh, sorry, Metal Mythos. Yeah, I don't know from Eric's point of view, but like, yeah, he's got a shit ton going on with it. I think he's going to expand it quite a bit over the years. Ocelot Alpha says, Drinker, how do I get signed copies of your books? So, I mean, well, for a start, I'm going to be at Florida SuperCon, and I'll be doing lots of signings because I'm bringing like 100 copies of my new book there, which hasn't been released yet even. So I'll be signing them. So that's one way to do it. And hopefully I'll be doing a lot more con appearances over the next couple of years.
I'll be right back. Just 2 seconds.
No worries, man. Julio Scissors says, S-tier panel tonight here. Cheers. Thanks, man. Clyde Dashing says, how long till we get the first ISOM movie? Yeah, we were just talking about that. It'll fucking happen. I guarantee it. Moss Melendez says, as an RE fan, we are the most crapped upon franchise more than any other. They can't get Resident Evil right. It's Resident Evil in name only, none of the soul. I will not accept Albert Westgang. Yeah, it was just a joke. It was a bad joke. Nobody liked it. The backlash against it has been complete and total, and it's been crushed. There will be no Series 2 for this. From North Jersey says, please check out Miller's Crossing, a mafia movie by the Coen brothers, Irish mob versus Italian mob, because the Jewish mob during Prohibition. Gabriel Byrne, Albert Finney, John Turturro, Steve Buscemi, and Marcia Gay Harden. Trust me. I mean, it sounds like a hell of a cast, man. Sounds good. Farewell Thunderchild says, been a while, mate. I can't watch Resident Evil on Netflix. I even completed the G-Con games in the series, and I will weep over what they have done to my boy. Yeah, they fucking gutted it, honestly. Like I said in my review, I blame Capcom for so much of this, because it's like they must have known what this was going to turn out to be. They saw the scripts, they saw the pitch for this, and they said yes to it. Like, why? You must know how this is going to devalue your product. Mr. Coconut says, wait, how can you have a slasher where all the teens just kill themselves? The fuck was that? JP says, go to Dale Malbury for strippers in Tampa. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Omar Vasquez gave me $2. Thank you. Joshua Nelson says, best and worst Resident Evil games. Best word for me is the remake of Resident Evil 1. I think that's absolutely fucking fantastic. In terms of bad ones, like apart from like really obscure ones like Gun Survivor, which is just fucking trash. Yeah, probably worst Resident Evil game. Fuck. Yeah, like, so I'm going to pick mainline titles. I would probably say Resident Evil 6, just because it's so ridiculous and over the top. You can enjoy it as just a dumb action game, but it doesn't feel like Resident Evil in the slightest. Yeah, this is a good question for you, MauLer, as well. Wait, are you there?
I am here.
Oh, so what's your best and worst Resident Evil games?
So my favorite is Resident Evil 4. It's not even close. I fucking adore that game. Resident Evil, I'd probably go with 6 as well. That's the only Resident Evil game I think that I decided to stop playing. So I was like, yeah, this isn't for me anymore. I don't know what's going on with these games, but this isn't for me. Which is funny because I don't have much to praise about Resident Evil 7 and 8, and yet I completed them both. I don't know, like, well, yeah, I don't know what it was with 6.
Focused, for the most part.
6 was weird.
6 it's just all over the place. It's like, hyperactive, just trying to do everything. I've come to have a real dislike of Code Veronica. It's this weird. It's kind of unique amongst the Resident Evil games, is just being this weird anomaly where like they were just transitioning into 3D, but it looks really bland and soulless, and the plot with the Ashfords is so like cheesy, like even by Resident Evil standards. It's just it's kind of garbage. It's got some really unfair boss battles as well, where you can get completely fucked over. But yeah, someone mentioned Resident Evil 0 as well. I don't mind that one because it does the same sort of graphical style as the Resident Evil 1 remake, which I fucking adore. The story's nowhere near as strong, but like the actual art style is gorgeous to look at. But yeah, like it's a hell of a retcon to try and pull off. Yeah, just seeing the comments here. Resident Evil 4, yeah, getting a bit of love there. Are you excited for the remake of it?
I'm as excited for that as I am with every other remake of everything ever.
Yeah.
You can hear it in my voice.
I can tell, yeah. Willie Plays says, I've begun reading more manga than American comics. When a blue-haired GI in my friend group called me out, and I started laughing because it was happening to me now. I just like good stories. Yeah, nothing wrong with that. Dragonborn gave me £1, so thanks. Algernon Sydney says, will Drinker review The Boys Season 3? I struggle to want to watch it. Like, I just think about watching it, and I'm like, I just don't want to do it.
Don't make it.
Yeah, I don't want to watch it. I know I'm not going to enjoy it, so I'm like, why do I want to subject myself to this? Tea Time with Tokens says, Drinker, I started your Ryan Drake series, and I'd love to interview you for a video if you have the time and interest. Yeah, I could probably do that. Like, talk a little bit about my books. Send me an email, and we'll sort something out. Captain Hunchnuts says, thoughts on The Boys, and have you seen Banshee? I haven't seen Banshee, and Boys Season 1 I really liked. Season 2, not so much. Season 3 I haven't seen yet. So that's all I got so far.
Hey, can I be the more spicy version? 1 is mid. I actually like a lot of it. Don't like a lot of it. 2 is absolute crap, and I hate it. 3, whatever. I don't even know what to say about 3. A lot of people say that the ending ruins 3. I don't think 3 was any good at any point.
Liam Hardy says, MauLer, or anybody in that, for that matter, how did you feel about the conclusion of Lalo's arc in Better Call Saul?
Well, I wouldn't want to spoil, right? I'm assuming you haven't seen it?
No. But I can like close my ears off or something for the next minute or so.
Well, I guess I can do it spoiler free. I didn't find it satisfying. I'm not sure that it really made use of everything we learned about that character or their journey. I don't exactly know what I believe it adds to everything to know that it all went down that way. However, I don't really have harsh criticisms beyond the fact that I just don't think I quite... this is one of those ones where it's just like it's not hitting me personally very, very much in the passion department. I know that I have an unpopular opinion on that.
No, that's fair dues. I got nothing to draw from on that one, so I'll take your word for it, I guess. Smutlord says, great to see Critical Drinker and It's a Gundam. Watch both channels as much as possible. Later. Thanks, man. Janny Egaxerd says, why having Shiva, Joss, Sherry, or Jake if you can swap Wesker, right, Netflix? Sorry for Lance Reddick. He's a cool guy, but he is absolutely not Wesker. Yeah, I agree 100%.
Yeah.
North Viking says, you all rock. Razor, I bought both of your Night Vale books. Rock on. Ripper, will we get more poster options for ISOM? A poster of cover A would be legit. Hopefully you will, I guess. Heron of Alexandria says, MauLer, what was your boss from the toy store? Sorry, was that your boss from the toy store?
Who knows?
That was the video we were watching with Lance.
Oh, well, he was fat and ginger. So those are the two traits I remember.
Drinker, will you do a Drinker recommends for small soldiers? I don't know, man. I don't know if I'd recommend it. Gundam, where's the second part of that Kenny versus the alcoholic wife video? I need to know what happens. One day, hopefully, we'll get it. Eugenio Olivencia says, so excited for the return tonight of the best American produced cartoon of the 2000s. Gennady Tartovsky's Primal, visual storytelling at its finest. Nice. Guess Who says, did you guys see that they just dropped a trailer for the new D&D movie? Doesn't look horrible, but I'm bracing for disappointment. Yeah, so this has got Chris Pine in it, hasn't it?
Yes.
Didn't know what to make of the trailer, to be honest with you, but I don't know. See what happens with it, I guess.
Yeah, that's all you can say.
The Justice 35 says, Drinker, you've got to check out the show Shoresy. It's got heart, humor, and strong characters. It's 6 episodes and legitimately good. Never even heard of Shoresy. Have you?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Doesn't sound that familiar.
Willie Plays says, you may have answered this already, but what are your thoughts on the House of the Dragon trailer? As an actual Solar fan, I'm not at all excited. Yeah, the trailer made it look pretty good. The worry, I guess, is there's a lot of lines dropped in, like, men would rather burn down the entire kingdom than see a woman on the throne. It's like, okay, is that the tack you're going to take with this again? Like, do we need more of this crap? Yeah, and I've read a few interviews with some of the showrunners about this, and yeah, it doesn't sound good. Basically, they basically just talk about how it's all about female empowerment. It's all about like them being oppressed by asshole men who are bad at their jobs. In which case, fucking count me out. I've heard enough of this garbage over the years. Harry Shearer says, MauLer, when are we getting another unbridled rage?
Maybe one is brewing. Who knows? Maybe. I don't like giving times.
Yeah.
It will be out in time.
There we go. In due time. Colton Lynch says, what's your opinion on a God of War Ragnarok developer trying to get Kratos to talk about kissing guys to his son on the game? I don't even know what to say to that. Fuck off. Go with it. Fuck off, Ragnarok. Lord Adelhart says, has anyone seen Sleuth? Also, Mr. In Between. I can't recommend that show enough. Haven't seen Sleuth, I'm afraid, so I don't know.
Neither have I.
Weston 487 says, Ripper, $3 million fucking dollars. Indeed. It's a lot of money. And Matthew Frigault says, Drinker, would you be willing to review the original Christopher Reeves Superman? Reeves was the best Superman, hands down. I would be interested to look at that actually as a retrospective because, yeah, those were the proper classics from a time when things like this really hadn't been done on the big screen. So yeah, it'd be nice to look at. So that is all the super chats from the other night. So yay, we did that.
Time for tonight.
Yeah, let's see what we got tonight. Where are you? Where did we start? Okay, so Joshua Levesque says, evening chaps, thoughts on the MCU Phase 5? I sense shit. Yeah, he's bound to come through. Nothing there that I particularly care about. Just more sludge. That's all I can say. More sludge.
Yeah.
Content for the content god. Krusty Jugglers says, I just saw Thor gay and gayer with my Marvel shill friends and they laughed at every joke while my brain constantly regretted its ever more excruciating existence. I also recently watched Guardians of the Galaxy 2, which made Thor even worse. I feel for you, man. Particularly having the friends that just lap up this Marvel stuff still after all this time. Like, there's people out there who I think will just watch anything made by Marvel. They'll just consume.
Just got to start asking them questions slowly. Just be like, hey guys, don't you think it's a bit weird that Thor power he has, he didn't use that like in Endgame? And then when one of your friends is like, oh, I think he just figured it out or something, just go, okay, all right. That's fine.
You've got to plant the seeds, haven't you?
Yeah, you got to be careful, nice and easy.
Yeah, it's like trying to deprogram a cult member.
They're like, wait, are you not having fun? You're like, no, I've fun. This is great. Love it.
Yeah, it's just like I've just got a few questions, little things.
All I'm doing is asking questions, man. Nothing.
ARC says, Hail Drinker and MauLer, I wanted to give one of your books a go. Any recommendation on which one I should read first? Yeah, so start with book 1, Redemption. That's my best advice. Hope you enjoy it, man. And thank you very much for the donation. I very much appreciate it. Daniel Monroe says, yes, Drinker in chat. Here's some beer. Money to apologize for the spam the other night. I was a few Smirnoff smoothies deep and my brain was starting to dribble out my ears. I mean, that's me on every stream, really. I get to the point where I can't really read the super chats anymore. So, yeah, you're doing all right, mate. Reed Pattis says, I want a 10-hour loop of the intro song. Someone make it happen. I will post that up if you like as a separate video. Waylon Bucephus says, which should I fix first, my AIDS or my cancer? That's a tough one, actually. I think cancer would probably kill you quicker, wouldn't it?
I think they'll just cancel each other out, right? That's how that works.
Yeah.
Cancer
What if you give AIDS to the cancer and make the cancer sick? That's, yeah, there you go. Medical science. You can have that one for free. This, actually, we joke about this, but this is technically possible. Because what you can do is take the HIV virus and reprogram it. Because I know this because a friend of mine works in stem cell and genetic research. And he did say that you can, in theory, reprogram something like HIV. Instead of targeting immune system cells, it will actually target cancer cells.
Let's do it.
Which is kind of cool.
And see, now we'll do that. Make a story where that happens. Everyone's given it worldwide in your story. And then they all start turning into zombies. Zombie movie. It'd be great.
We need more zombie movies. There we go.
Hell yeah.
Taylor Ramirez says, "Are you excited excited for Phase 5 and 6? Sludge time." Yeah, I want endless phases. I want us to be old men sitting here talking about Phase 27. Just like
fully white hair, and I'm just like, I gotta edit today.
It's like I'm still working on TFA Part 5.
God, I'm still working on that, and something's gone wrong. I like how I'm saying, like, it should only take me a few years. It shouldn't take me 10 years. Jeez.
Kung Fu Hot Dog says, "Hey Drinker, what was the video that you made which became viral after you recorded it drunk? Black Panther 2 trailer was cringe, too much of the female agenda." Yeah, I mean, I think I was reacting more to the overall emotional tone of it. I think it seemed quite respectful towards, the fact that Chadwick had passed away and stuff. That seemed quite good. Yeah, I'm sure it'll be all, girl power and all that usual good Marvel stuff. But yeah, the video that went viral was Captain Marvel. I was talking about that, and it was just a sarcastic video saying that I was all wrong about her, and the movie's going to be great. And that was the one that I guess launched my career. So I should be thankful to that.
Yeah.
Thank you, Captain Marvel.
Yeah, it was soon after that I think people started linking you to me for the first time.
Yeah.
And I was like, who's
this
guy?
It was really weird speaking to you actually for the first time, because I'd been a fan of your stuff like for quite some time before that, like all your TLJ reviews and stuff, and then
well, what's so weird is like the initial conversations we would have had, I could just completely forgot them now. Like the dynamic we have now is very different from then, probably.
Well, I think initially when you emailed me, I was like, oh, this could be just a,
I don't even remember emailing you.
Someone pretending to be MauLer or something. So it's like, oh, tell you what, like follow me on Twitter or something so I know it's you.
And then I did. Yeah. That's I'm terrible with following on Twitter. I always feel bad because when I'm in calls with some people, they're like, "Why wouldn't you follow me? Do you have issue with it?" I'm like, I don't fucking like Twitter. I've never used it properly. I just complain on there.
But that's that's pretty much it. But yeah, I do remember the first EFAP I did because that was the first live stream of any kind I'd ever done. And that's one of the drunkest experiences I've had on like live on YouTube.
We should do
most of a bottle of Jack that night. It was great.
We should do a stream sometime with you on EFAP for a whole night and have drinks. I don't know what it would be about. Fuck it. We should do that sometime. I would like to have an excuse to drink alcohol.
You don't need an excuse, MauLer. That's the great thing, especially when you're working for yourself. Just go for it.
That's true, actually. Yeah, that's very fair.
Next one is Hugger Derek says, cynicism aside, I'm super excited for Secret Wars and the possible cameos. It's all about the cameos. Is there a fanboy part of you that's giddy inside for Secret Wars? I mean, I don't know a huge amount about it from the comics because Gary's really the guy to ask about that sort of thing. But as I understand it, it's just kind of a war across the multiverse. So
good God, you should be fearful. Like, imagine how much they can fuck up. Everything. There's no limits. And the main team for the Avengers will be like, welcome, Captain Marvel. Want to be Captain America. Who the fuck else are we even dealing with at this point? Shang-Chi. good God, this team's going to suck. Doctor Strange turning up is going to feel so weird because he feels like he's from a different era at this point. You know what I mean? He's like he's the one that hung out with all the cool heroes from back when Marvel wasn't useless.
Yeah, he's just like this boomer now where it's like, I remember the MCU and it was cool.
And you know for a fucking fact that he's going to get, like, people are going to be smarter than him at every turn as well. Because unfortunately for him, they're not going to want him to have many wins. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah.
Within the team dynamic.
So. I live in fear of the idea that they'll tempt Robert Downey Jr. back with a massive paycheck. Just bring back Tony just to humiliate him. Because I think Ironheart's obviously going to happen, and I think that's got a huge battle to get recognition. Because out of all the different Marvel characters, I think everyone's got a special place in their heart for Tony. And the idea that you're going to replace him, it's like, fuck off. No, you're not. You're never going to replace Tony Stark.
The funny thing is, I would accept seeing a Tom Cruise variant for a few minutes in some kind of fun multiversal film, but I just don't trust them at all to be able to do it. After what we saw in Multiverse of Madness, holy fuck, I don't want to see them do that again.
Yeah. Team Theme says, thoughts on The Boys Season 3? Yeah, I think we've both kind of given whatever thoughts we have so far.
Boo.
Yeah. I'm just like, meh, don't know. Double Brewski says, hey, drinker, martinis, gin or vodka? Gin, yeah. James Bond aside, a proper martini should be gin, not vodka. Fuck that. M. Mortem says, it looks like it's Black Themyscira. I don't know how they'll implement the death of Chadwick into the film and the death of Black Panther. And why is Namor an Aztec? I don't know the answers to any of those questions, actually. But yeah, it's weird how they seem to be on an island now. I thought Wakanda was landlocked in the middle of Africa, but yeah, who knows? Tony Henderson says, will you ever have Voxus back on? Yeah, absolutely. He's a busy guy, unfortunately, and it's not always easy to get him, but it was great to have him on that time. He was a really nice guest to have on. Taker610 says, drinker, quartering ran an ad where you can buy a square foot of land in Scotland and call yourself a lord or lady. It's the buying a star thing again. Yeah, established titles, that is. They actually offered to sponsor me, but I was like, nah, fuck you, appropriating my culture. You don't just get to make yourself a laird. You have to earn it by killing people. And that's hard to do these days, trust me. But yeah, that's just... It's like one of those things, you know how you can buy like an acre of land on the moon or whatever?
Yeah.
And it's just made up nonsense. It's just the same with this. It doesn't actually make you a laird. But yeah, keep going. I don't blame Jeremy for doing it. Like, he's just he's just running ads. This is what you do. Alberto Suzy says, hi guys, will you be checking out Medieval? It's the most expensive movie in Czech history. Okay. Fair enough. Mad Dog Gamer says they should rename Wakanda Forever to Absent Male Main Character, Women Most Affected. Yeah. See It Twice says, MauLer, I just started your lengthy Force Awakens critique series. I know for sure that I'll come out of it older, but I also know I'll come out wiser.
It is still crazy that there's people who are starting it today and are like, ooh, 4 parts. And then they get to the end of it and they're like, is 5 coming out soon? It's like, you need to look at the upload dates on those videos. Like, you'll get some idea.
Johnner MCD says, drink, arse, girls, Marvel, brick. Thank you. James Moore says, Resident Evil 3 Remake has slightly tighter gameplay than Remake 2. Its story is obviously butchered, but the game would have done better if it had mercenary mode. Yes, it would have absolutely done better. If it had the clock tower sequence in it as well, that would have been great. It would have been nice to see the clock tower. But yeah, overall, it was just... I think I remember streaming it, actually, for a live stream, and it was quite fun to just play through like that. It's one of those games that's not particularly demanding or anything. Like, I would probably never stream myself playing Elden Ring because it would just be like rinse and repeat, get killed, repeat, get killed, repeat. But with that, it's just like constant progression. So it was okay. But yeah, it's I definitely consider Remake 2 to be a much better game. Claudio Rogajan says, hey, drinker, do you actually like the Wanted movie? There's no explanation for any of the powers, and James McAvoy, I think, is legitimately bad in it. So I like the graphic novel way more. Like it explains a lot more, and I think they cut a huge amount out for the film, so it wasn't a great adaptation, to be fair. And yeah, I wish they'd had Halle Berry instead of Angelina Jolie in it. That was who they were meant to have. Tiffany Roberts says, "Hi there, will you be watching Bullet Train? I thought it looks like John Wick, but a comedy. Also, have either of you watched the Snowpiercer show? It's been my favorite TV show of the past few years." So Bullet Train, the trailers, I wasn't too impressed by. It just looked not particularly funny. And Brad Pitt kind of clowning around. Snowpiercer, I've only watched the movie. I haven't watched the show, so I don't know. The movie was garbage, so maybe the show's better. I don't know. I like the concept of it. Talons of Water says, no, that's not what he said. In your opinion, Drinker, what is the appeal of reading books versus reading a manga and comic? And what do you think of books having illustrations in? Where do I start with this? With books, I guess, it requires you to use your imagination a bit more. When the images are presented to you on screen, it's literally showing you what the characters look like, what they're doing, what you should be seeing. With books, it's all down to the descriptive skill of the author and what you can conjure up in your own imagination. And each of them has got a place for sure. But yeah, I think books require that little extra level of skill because you have to literally describe everything that's happening and you have to paint a picture with words. I think that's a really cool thing to be able to do. So I guess that's my difference. Mr. Taco Boutique says, only the Sandman trailer got me excited from San Diego Comic-Con. Fair enough. I must watch it, actually. Alphonse von Schermack says, hello, will you be reviewing The Grey Man? Most expensive Netflix movie to date. Really mediocre, to be honest. Thanks for the great content. Keep it up. I might try and watch it on the flight over to Florida or something. And if it jumps out at me, I can do a review of it, I guess.
Yeah, let me know what you think.
I love Scotch. Gave me $2, so thank you. Taylor Ramirez says, hello again, Drinker. I'm currently working on my second book in a series. So do you have any advice for writing a sequel? Thanks and love both of your videos. Don't fall into that trap, I guess, of trying to one-up yourself and make everything bigger and grander and more extreme. Just find a logical, follow-on point for the characters and the story and try and work from that. And, try and do the original justice, I suppose. And don't ever contradict yourself, because that's bad.
Evil.
No contradictions. Purple Thighs says, Resident Evil 3 Remake isn't horrible, it's just very short, doesn't have a lot of extras, and it isn't worth $60, but it's not horrid. That's the thing. If it had been just DLC or something, I think everyone would have been happy with it. But as it is, it's a bit of a rip. Taker610 says, the most memorable part of Blade 3 is when Jarko, played by Paul Levesque, Triple H, just blurts out, we were anally graped. Well, that's a line. It is indeed, yeah. He was an interesting casting choice in that film. Maltheo says, big fan, Mr. Drinker and MauLer. Curious if you plan to give a franchise review to all of the Mission Impossible movies now that we have the final two arriving in the coming years. Also, is Ellie gay? We'll never know for sure. Are you going to review them all?
Oh, no, I was saying she's gay.
Okay, fair enough. So the question for you was, do you think you'll ever review the Mission Impossible movies?
The one that would have come closest to doing would be Fallout. But it's not higher on the list than a lot of things that I'm taking ages to get to, so probably not.
Night King 01 says, have you ever seen the film Lee Samurai? I think it's one of the greatest films ever made. I wonder if you thought of reviewing classics. What is that one? I've never heard of that one before. So that is Le Samurai, 1967. It's a crime drama. No, I have not seen that one, but it's got a bunch of people that I have never heard of before. Okay. I keep it in mind. I'm definitely up for reviewing more classic movies. So, it's one to add to the list, I think. Team Theme says, what's your thoughts on Daredevil? Love the TV show. hate the fact that they're remaking it, I guess. A. Chernabog says, thanks for recommending Dog Soldiers. Loved it. I've got a recommendation for you. One Cut of the Dead, a Korean movie about making a movie. Okay. Thanks for the recommendation, mate. Shaker Silver says, the sequel to Shazam has a trailer out. Any thoughts? The last one was one of the few superhero films that I cared about in recent memory. So, yeah, the problem I've got is there's like a million trailers that have come out at Comic-Con, and I haven't had a chance to watch about 90% of them yet, so I don't know. Don't know about you, MauLer.
Of them, what have I seen, are you asking? Or
just one for Shazam Part 2, and in general, like, have you seen many of these trailers, or are you just like, yeah, I'll tackle that later?
Dude, I am absolutely out of the loop. I haven't actually really seen any of them. I've just been asking people what happened. I'm just so I don't know. I've had a lot of work to do these past few days that I just when you tell me like, oh, we've announced like 13 things and there's 8 more on the way, I'm just like, fuck off.
Fuck off. That's fair play. JK Fozo says, any chance that you'll film your adventures in Florida? I'd watch that. I will try to, yeah. And if I'm doing a panel, well, I am doing a panel at Florida SuperCon. I'm doing several. One where I just talk about my favorite subject of all, me. But no, there's one where I do like just a retrospective of my YouTube career and all that stuff. Others where I'm going to be interviewing other people. Like I'm talking to the guy who wrote The Crow, like the comic book, and then his thoughts on the movie and stuff like that. So yeah, I will try and live stream them or record them or something, so you'll get to see it. So that'll be part of it. Sheev Talks says, Marvel Phase 6 project that you're least excited for. I don't know. Like, have they even talked about Phase 6? So Phase 5.
You know, is 2024 is the Avengers movies, is it? The 2, right? And so is that the end of Phase 5?
Must be, yeah. Like a 2-year phase. Sounds about right.
Right. And so what announcements we got next will be the Phase 6 ones, is it? I don't know.
Let's see if there's anything about it.
Because what I thought was interesting is there's no Spider-Man stuff. And as much as someone might be like, well, yeah, but we've had, you know, like, I don't know. It seems like they're cash cow, right? They're surely making another Spider-Man film.
So, yeah. Fuck. Oh, God. I want to
Yeah.
Marvel confirms 11 new releases in Phase 6. So, what have we got? Avengers, the Kang Dynasty.
That's,
It's got to be a troll. It's got to be a troll.
Hey, shut up. It's sensitive. It's a great title.
Oh, God, make it stop.
You can't be real.
So, yeah, it's okay, yeah, I've got this. It's fine. Right, it's all building up to Avengers: Secret Wars, which is going to be in November 2025. So we've got Shang-Chi 2, Miss Marvel Season 2, Spider-Man 4, Doctor Strange 3.
Fine.
Yeah, Armor Wars. That's got Don Cheadle in it as War Machine. I don't have words. I don't have words for this. I actually just want to stop the live stream now and just go away.
Do you ever think about how, like, legit, if you could peer into the future, it would just be you and I on this with this image in the background on a stream talking about Doctor Strange 5 and how it's not very good. So like that's what we have.
I just I don't know, man. I want to be able to travel back in time to young me who just seen Iron Man and was totally buzzing, and like just say to him, just wait.
Don't get too invested there.
Okay? Right now, it'll die along with your soul. Yeah, damn, man. But yeah, we're gonna get Secret Wars, so there we go. Big Dave K says, guys, you should all review the Bollywood film RRR. Yeah, I've heard amazing things about this. It's sort of fun, over-the-top action film that Marvel wishes they could make. Yeah, so it's playing up to all the tropes of Bollywood action movies, so I'm all in. Jack Crispy says, can you talk about the terminal list? So, yeah, I liked it. I did a whole review of it. Go watch it. You'll quite like it.
All right, fine. I'll go watch it at some point.
Yeah. Torch Custom Wood Flag says, cheers. Cheers to you. Thank you. Night King 01 says, I asked that MauLer and Drinker give The Sopranos a watch at some point. It's a perfect. There's nothing else to say. It's the best TV show ever written. Fair play. I can't dispute it until I've seen it. Flash Hazardous says, are you ever going to do a Netflix Snowpiercer review? Never been so disappointed with a series I watched end to end. Promising concept, poorly executed. So the show's shit as well, then, apparently. Night King 01. There's been political messaging in movies since the beginning of time. Look at any war movie after the Vietnam era. Example, Full Metal Jacket. Yeah, I mean, this is...
Dude, I'm legit, like... I die from listening, because like I'm in circles that involve both sides of the argument on this one, and I always feel like they don't listen to each other at all. It's just... the one side saying, everything's political, you fool, there's messages in everything, while the other side says, I don't like politics, and like neither seem to, like the middle ground is, nobody likes being told this is the correct way to think, and you'd be a bad person to think otherwise. They prefer it when ideas are explored, not preaching. That's like the middle, because, they're like, oh, you think BioShock isn't political? It's like, no, but BioShock is really interesting, and so is a bunch of other shit where they...
taking the example that they've given, right? What kind of messages and political ideas can you pull out of Full Metal Jacket? It's like, well, war does really bad things to people, and the process of turning people into soldiers like takes some of their humanity away from them, and it can ultimately drive them to snap. Basically, it pushes them to breaking point. And the actual business of war is dirty and morally grey, and it can result in horrible things happening to good people. That's not really taking a specific political angle. That's just a general comment on humanity and the nature of warfare.
That's another point.
That's the difference right there.
Another good point is that when you say something, for example, like this is how you should feel about current hot topic issue versus, like racism is bad. Like nobody's going to be having any issues with that if you preach like with a good story or whatever. But like Jurassic Park, what's the idea? It's like man should never even try to harness nature. It's incredibly dangerous, and to think that we can control it is like our own hubris sort of thing, and that we're probably going to destroy ourselves eventually. Like nobody. A lot of people can pick up that message, but nobody's saying they're preaching, because it's just ideas presented. There's like a very strong difference, and I just feel like a lot of people enjoy not trying to get it to any understanding or middle ground. They just like to instead be like, "Ha, idiot! You didn't know there was politics in BioShock."
Yeah, and I think this is the people that espouse this stuff. It's always because they want to see the politics come from one direction. Now when you get these people online who are like, oh, Star Wars was always political or whatever. It's like basically because you see your particular politics reflected, especially in like the modern movies that people criticize so much, and so you like it, and so you just then project that backwards into everything else.
Yeah,
and it's not the same thing. It's like pandering to you, and you like it because it panders to your beliefs.
Well, an easy example would be when they were creating The Boys season 3. I think Eric Kripke said that it's going to explore toxic masculinity, and it's going to have a lot to say about toxic behavior from men. It's just like, oh great, can't wait, man.
Yeah, it's really fantastic when you berate half your audience and call them pieces of shit. Yeah, and it's like if you question that, it's like, well, that's just your fragility coming through. It's like, well, no, that's me calling out bullshit right now.
Oh, dude, you can check out The Boys season 3, and this wouldn't be a spoiler, but Huey's arc in the season is that he starts getting frustrated that when he's dating Starlight, that she's stronger than him, and that he can't save her. She has to save him all the time. And so Temp V comes up in the storyline, he starts taking it, and at first he's saying, "Oh, I'm taking it because I'm trying to take care of you." And then at one point they have this big blowout where she says, like, "When we met, you said you were not bothered at all by the fact that I was stronger than you," which is true. Season 1, he says he's not bothered at all by the fact that she's stronger. And do you know what he says in this season?
No.
Yeah, I said that, but I was wrong. It does bother me.
Great.
This is what I mean. Like, if you want to tell that story of a man who has trouble, dealing with the fact that his girlfriend is stronger than him, it's like, that's one thing. But you just fucked a character to do that. So nice.
Yeah.
And they always do that because they're really bad at fucking writing it.
Email Brune says, "Hey Drinker, do you still enjoy playing RPG games?" Yeah, fine with that. Like a game with a good story that can draw me in and keep me invested. So yeah, I'm all in. Jables says, "A day may come when the courage of YouTubers fails, when we forsake super chats and break all bonds of fellowship. But it is not this day. Indeed, it's not." I feel inspired. Yeah. The uninspired reviewer says, "You inspired me to make this channel. Cheers, lads." Thank you. Well, we've been on the emotional roller coaster these past 2 super chats. Wasim J says, "Hey Drinker, love your work on YouTube. My wife is super into thriller books like your Ryan Drake series, but Amazon says it doesn't deliver to New Zealand. What's up with that?" Well, the obvious answer is that Amazon are fucking assholes, and that they're not interested in you. They hate you because you're in too far flung a place. So take to the streets, burn it down. That's my suggestion. Connor Reed says, "Greetings, Drinker. I'm an up-and-coming novelist that will be focusing on action, adventure, and science fiction. Any tips or suggestions?" Action, adventure, and science fiction at the same time. Hell of a combination. Yeah, the same kind of suggestions that I kind of give to everyone. Try and write yourself some interesting, compelling, and consistently written characters, a plot that you would find interesting yourself, and try and include some interesting little twists and turns in there. That's all I can really think on the spur of the moment, I'm afraid. But good luck to you, man. Bren says, "Drinker, MauLer, ever seen In Harm's Way?" I don't think I have.
No.
Reed Pattis says, "Question for MauLer and Drinker. If you two were to be in a Western movie, what profession would you have, and what do you see yourself frequently doing?" I mean, I'd be a bartender, so...
I'd be a gunsmith.
Yeah.
That'd be cool as fuck. I would want to know everything about the guns and help the main guys and main villains have their guns. I give them fair to everybody. I just want to make sure I'm giving them good products.
That's fair enough. Yeah. Well, according to TLJ, that would make you evil because you're...
That's fine. That's fine. You could say I'm the evil character. Go ahead.
WLMG says, "Magneto worked as a prisoner in a concentration camp processing the dead and their possessions. That's pretty dark, but could make for a good R-rated Marvel movie." Yes, it could. You got tiny little glimpses of that in the X-Men films, but I don't think they'll go there again. Joab the Javelin says, "Watch Hell or High Water. I'm going to keep bothering you about it." Well, keep doing it, because I do want to watch it. I just need to be reminded. JS Pena says, "Drinker, I plan to make a video on why people defend bad entertainment. Any advice you can give me, and why do you think some people do this?" It's got to be like, just, when you've got a cult member who is presented with facts that contradict everything they've been taught, and like they can either go one of two ways. They can either accept it and realize that they have to leave the cult, or they can just reject all of it and just say, "No, it is lies. I won't believe in this," and then just retreat further into the comfort zone. I think that's the psychology that's at play with a lot of people nowadays when it comes to bad entertainment. They've built it up in their heads to the point where they can't accept that they might be wrong. I think it's kind of an interesting thing. It's like Stockholm Syndrome or something.
Because I always find it weird, right? Because they're the same people who often say, like, you can't really say any piece of art is bad. That's not how it works, that sort of stuff. But then they'll simultaneously be like, you shit on everything to do with Marvel, even though they're actually pretty okay to good, or something like that. It's always just like, why? It reminds me of that meme. Have you seen it where it says, "Leave alone the giant corporation," with like this chunky guy with a katana?
Yeah.
When you'd think most people would just be happy to be like, yeah, Disney needs a bit of a dressing down. They're like, they're on top of everything right now. They own everything. How much of a market share do they even have of fucking films now?
Oh, Christ. Yeah.
It's insane.
I mean, well, yeah, they're just gradually buying up everything, really, aren't they? It's going to come down to them and Amazon. I feel like Netflix are slowly going to get squeezed out of the business, and it's just going to be those two mega corporations.
Yeah.
Daniel Monroe says, "Hey guys, you just read my super chat about self-publishing. Just to point out that I pay for 3 different editors and a cover artist. Okay, so you get that kind of editorial screening, I guess. It was all part of the learning journey. Some people take shortcuts, but I wanted my story to read professionally. No, that's fair play, and respect to you for doing that. I guess the thing that you're going to miss with not being with a publishing house is just the advertising and the promotion, because to get yourself into a position where you're in bookstores, where you're in supermarkets, where you're in different kind of shops and stuff, or even just getting advertised online. You kind of need the connections that come with a publishing house to make that happen. And yeah, you can produce a really good novel self-published that's well edited and stuff. The struggle you've got though is just getting noticed, it's getting recognized. That's the hard part. And I don't know what the solution is from a self-publishing point of view. Nicholas Robinson says rank Babylon 5, Deep Space Nine, Stargate, The Expanse, and Battlestar Galactica. So, okay. Oh, Jesus. I would say if I could cut out the final episode, Battlestar Galactica I would probably put on top, then Stargate, then The Expanse, then Deep Space Nine, and then Babylon 5. That would be my ranking. MauLer, I suspect you haven't watched half of these, so I think you can do this one. Night King 01 says, Drinker, that member stream. Yes, that's going to happen for sure. I'm sorry that I've been caught up in other things. Workload, unfortunately, does intrude. Sanity Now says, Nighthawks. Hey, Drinker, have you seen Nighthawks? It's Sly Stallone in a French Connection style cop movie with Rutger Hauer as the bad guy. I have. I was about 15, I think, when I saw it, but I remember quite liking it. And it seems like it just got forgotten in Stallone's back catalogue. So, yeah, it's a good movie. Nicholas Robinson says, Drinker, name the 5 best TV shows that you've seen. Oh, this puts me in a difficult position, right? Because you have to take the show into its entirety. Because I ask, because something like Game of Thrones at its best would be considered fantastic, but then, you take the last few seasons and it's garbage. So
yeah,
how do you judge it? But yeah, okay. 5 best TV shows: Star Trek: The Next Generation, Farscape, Battlestar Galactica, Breaking Bad, and what would I pick for the final one? Yeah, I would probably go not The Expanse. Yeah, I'm not sure what I'd put for my final one, actually. I might leave that one open for now. I don't know if you've got one, or if you got 5, MauLer.
Oh, easy. So Buffy and Angel, they're right up there. And we got Breaking Bad. I'm so sorry about this, but Bly Manor. And what else we got here? Arcane scores really high, by the way. I don't know if it's in my top 5, though. Band of Brothers. These are like honorable mentions.
Band of Brothers. Fair play. Yeah, that would probably be my final pick, I guess.
Yeah. Blackadder and Faulty Towers. I'm looking at my collection. I'm like, oof, I do love you guys. But I don't know. Yeah, it's hard to say, but something like that.
I always had such a soft spot for Only Fools and Horses. I don't know if you ever watched that, but
it's so weird. I watched the shit ton out of like a whole bunch of shows, but that's one of the ones I missed.
See, for British comedy, that is absolutely up there. Like, I know obviously it gets loads of recognition anyway, but yeah, like particularly seeing it like change obviously throughout the seasons as the actors get older and they kind of move to different stages in their lives. But like, yeah, balances out like hilarious like gags and stuff and great banter between the characters and some quite poignant and like serious moments as well. Like, I think the stuff that British comedy just does really well.
I remember feeling really old because a couple days ago on Reddit, it was like this clip from Blackadder that got to the top. Do you know what the title was? It wasn't like, funny bit from Blackadder. It was, I don't know if anyone knew this, but Rowan Atkinson used to star in a medieval sitcom.
Oh, fuck.
And I was like, oh.
No.
Jesus Christ.
That's where we're at. Shit. Okay. Alosha says, watching Terminal List, it was odd watching a series written by a heterosexual. I know, it's crazy, but yeah, it can happen apparently. Stoic Steel says, do you think Arcane Season 2 will live up to the first season? I suspect not, because I think it's going to be rushed.
Oh, God, the answer's no. But, hey, man, I could be surprised.
Duff McClintock says, when are we getting a review of Michael Mann's Heat? Yeah, that will be something soon, actually. He just came out with a sequel in book form. Nice. Joab the Javelin says, watch Miller's Crossing. Okay. James Cunningham, would you be interested in a Chihuahua singing Star Wars? I don't think I would. I think I could live without that, to be fair. Duff McClintock says, also, I'm taking the CA bar exam this week. I'm going to have the power to stand up to the message. Wish me luck. Damn. Yeah, good luck to you, man. Hope you pass. Alexander Lanu says, hello, Critical Drinker. Love the reviews. Would you do an update on The Boys Season 3? It'd be interesting to see your opinion. Okay, I'll fucking watch it. Jesus. So many people have asked me about it. Fine, I'll watch the fucking show and I'll be miserable. Mick Squizzy says, have you ever played the Red Dead Redemption 1 or 2? So I haven't played 1, but I have played 2 and loved it. It was a great game. Loved the world, loved the characters. Yeah, good fun. Don't know if you've played them all.
What was it again?
Red Dead Redemption.
Nope. I do want to, though.
Well, I don't know about 1, but I can recommend 2 to you for sure. Connor says, what are your thoughts on The Sopranos? Haven't seen it. Don't know. I assume I gotta see because everyone loves it.
These are huge gaps in my. This is how I feel like Jay sometimes. It's like I haven't seen The Sopranos or The Wire. I've got to see both of them.
All right, just let me catch up here. Martin Gill says, Drinker, what you drinking? So I'm drinking Edredauer whiskey. Don't know if you can see that right now. Hold on. Let's bring up the camera so I can actually see. Yeah, Edredauer. So it's made by a distillery in Perthshire, and it's really good whiskey. So I'm enjoying that this evening. It goes down smooth.
Do you know what I've been drinking right now? Dead Man's Fingers.
Dead Man's Fingers.
Yeah.
I know you're a rum man, aren't you?
Well, spirits in general. But yeah, sure.
Fair enough. Yeah. You got to try some Boom Boo rum. Get some of that. You'll love it. I recommend it. Hollow Man says, love you guys. Correct me if I'm wrong. In Infinity War, Thanos destroyed the Asgardian ship, which had all the remaining Asgardian people in it. Therefore, who the hell is in New Asgard? Aren't they all dead?
Common mistake to make if you watch the open. This is totally fair. They didn't explain this very well. So if you watch Ragnarok, big old ship, and Thanos' ship appears above it. Beginning of Infinity War, we see half of the ship, and that's the half that Thor and everybody is in. He kills everybody on that half. I think the implication is that Valkyrie and a bunch of other the people were on the other half, like Korg and stuff. I don't exactly know how that could possibly have happened.
That is pretty weak.
But yeah, apparently we're supposed to believe that half of the Asgardians escaped that situation, which is in line, quote unquote, with what Thanos likes to do. Remember, at that point, he's running around, he kills half of everybody he comes across, or something like that.
Yeah. I mean, I think if you take it down to the point of like slicing ships in half and just letting the other half drift
that's silly,
away,
yeah. That's just silly. But the point I think that needs to be said is just the Asgardians have not been given their due. As a people, they have been punished fucking hardcore, and unfortunately, the only writer they've got to take care of them right now is someone who only makes jokes. So
that's perfect summary of Taika.
Infinity Cones.
Yeah. Hi Ice said, Drinker, please review Come and See the Paradise, a movie about Japanese-American internment camps in World War II. Stars Dennis Quaid and Tamlin Tomita. Fair enough. Okay. Judo Cricket says, give AIDS to cancer. Isn't that how the T-virus got started? Haven't we had enough of Resident Evil at this point? No, at this point, I'm actually genuinely praying for a zombie apocalypse that will wipe all this nonsense out. You know?
Yeah, it'll be fun.
Bring it on. Greg Arnold says, have you seen Gattaca, one of my favorite sci-fi films? A really cool dystopian film. Jude Law, Ethan Hawke, Uma Thurman, Alan Arkin, and Lauren Dean. Thoughts? Yeah, I have seen Gattaca. And it was a weird movie. Does it not keep rewriting like scenes that have come before, or it kind of redefines previous events through a different perspective? Yeah, if it's the one I'm thinking of, it's an odd movie, but pretty entertaining.
I haven't seen it in forever, so.
James Heikkinen says, hey all, I was wondering if you've seen any of Roanoke Gaming's YouTube channel. Seems like he would be an interesting one to guest star on a stream. No, I haven't heard of Roanoke Gaming, I'm afraid. Don't know if you have.
That name is vaguely familiar. I'm not sure.
Judo Cricket says, MauLer, the excuse to drink alcohol is the same reason that people climb mountains, because it's there. It's a good excuse. All right,
fine. I mean, I was lying anyway because I was drinking anyway.
Yellow Robot says, Drinker and MauLer, I love what you guys do. Thank you. We love what we do as well. It's great.
This is why I'm doing it. It's because I really like it. Yeah.
We're getting more and more pissed as this goes on. It's great. Honest criticism is always appreciated. Also, if you're going to watch Shorzy, you have to start with Letterkenny. Shorzy is a spin-off of that. And what is Letterkenny a spin-off of? That's what I want to know. It never ends. It's the franchise ecosystem, you see.
That's what everyone's assuming now for Better Call Saul. It's like, you're going to spin off a character from that? Make another 6 seasons?
Shiran Potluri says, hey Drinker, have you heard about the movie Triple R by any chance? Yes, I have. It's Bollywood action at its finest, apparently. A really entertaining action bromance movie out of India that is right up your alley, in my opinion. Please check it out on Netflix. Thanks. Yeah, I think we need to embrace Bollywood stuff a bit more over here, actually. I think it could be awesome. What I worry, though, is that like Hollywood will try and like satirize it and it won't be funny because it's just, they know what the joke is and it's just not good anymore. The world's most plagiarized man says, seeing your channel grow and you self-publish, seeing Eric kickstart his comic and getting to passively participate in the conversations with you and your friends has been so motivating for me. Cheers. Excellent. I mean, he wasn't really passive when he participated. He was pretty active, I would have said. But yeah, thanks, man. Sergey Yovanovich says, is there a movie or show that you have reviewed and later changed your mind about? Also, since you watched Cowboy Bebop, allow me to recommend Neon Genesis Evangelion. Cheers. Yeah, I've heard good things about that. So, things that I've reviewed and then changed my mind about. I've mentioned this before. I think I was very forgiving towards Ghostbusters Afterlife, and then the more I thought about it, the more I disliked it, and the more I saw what they were really doing with it.
This may sound funny, but I was pretty harsh to Endgame, and I think I was way too forgiving. Right. Like, I've gone on to think that Endgame is like a disastrous movie, writing-wise, but hey. What else we got? I'm trying to think of anything I was too harsh to instead.
See, you've got an advantage. You've got like kind of a smaller back catalogue of reviews that you've done.
Well, I've said plenty on EFAP that I may come to regret in terms of like, oh, that was mean. I think. Well, chat, what do you think? What have I been too harsh to? And don't say Atlas. Say something else.
All right. What has MauLer been too harsh on?
I have a feeling everything I've covered is going to come up now.
So someone said you're going to look back on No Way Home as a stinker. That's harsh.
I mean, to be fair, I gave it a 5. Like, that's not fantastic. And then I think I've already lowered it to like a 4 now. I don't think I would consider it a stinker, though.
There you go. Nah, you're fine. Apparently, you were too harsh on Jay.
Oh. Dark Souls 2? Jesus Christ. TLJ. Blade Runner 2049? Oh, maybe. Or maybe. Oh, dude, I was so happy to hear the Razor Fist. That was shit. I was like, yay.
I was in the same camp. Like, I don't think I went as far as saying it was shit, but I was like, it felt like it really added nothing to Blade Runner. It was just a movie for the sake of making a movie.
Dude, I made the horrific mistake of watching them back to back in a friend's house. A friend who, by the way, his favorite movie and most I don't know what you'd call it. The movie that is incredibly foundational to a lot of what he's come to enjoy about media was Blade Runner. It's one of the earliest things he remembers seeing and thought it was incredible. So someone who adores that and considers 2049, it was the closest thing that made him say he might start a YouTube channel just to talk about that. He didn't, but it came close.
I liken it to it's like if you took Blade Runner and you sucked all of the soul out of it, then what you end up with is Blade Runner 2049. You know, it looks good, but it's just a kind of by the numbers repeat of the same ideas, and it's So I don't even feel like it was a film that needed to be made. I think that's my biggest takeaway from it. It's like Blade Runner as a movie was just a complete story arc in its own right. It didn't need continuation.
Fuck yeah, dude. There's loads of those. Jurassic Park didn't need a fucking sequel.
I know. This is where a lot of our criticism, I think, stems from. It's like, just make new stories, have a bit of fucking creativity, stop trying to rehash the same things over and over again and just milk them.
Like, Terminator 1, that didn't need a sequel. We were really lucky that it turned out to be fucking awesome. That doesn't happen very often. When there's a movie that, like, the story ends, it's very rare for the sequel to just come along and be like, hey, open it back and up. Let's just see what happens.
Yeah, Alien didn't need a sequel, really. It was just a nice self-contained story. And again, like, though they did a sequel and it was great, but it succeeded, I guess, because of the skill of the director and stuff. Isn't
it fucking nuts that we live in a world where we look back on stuff like that and we're like, wow, we were lucky. It'd be nice if we thought of it as, no, that's just normal. You get good movies.
It's like, that was the start of fantastic sequels, Yeah. Didn't happen. Sergey Jovanovic says, oh no, sorry, we've done that one. Waylon Bocephus says, you guys should talk about Gensari 1 you should talk to Gensari 1 about lightsaber duels, or at least check out his stuff. He has some really cool versus videos. So yeah, I guess analyzing lightsaber duels. Gemini Joker says, any games or movies that are upcoming that you're excited for? No.
Scorn, horror game that's been going for a long time. I'm interested in seeing what it is. I'm actually interested in God of War Ragnarok. I mean, hey, I'll give it a very fair shake, okay? I like
God of War. Talking to his son about kissing dudes.
I don't know what the fuck that is. I'll see what the context is, okay?
Judo Cricket says, do the people that we kill have to be Scottish? Asking for a friend. No, but it helps. ActionCom says, MauLer, will you be tackling the movie The Day the Clown Cried when Jerry Lewis estate finally releases that disaster of a film? Drinker said he's not interested.
That's the one that's been like sealed away for 100 years or some shit, right? Or 50.
Yeah. Like, will we be old men when it finally comes out or something?
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see, I guess. I don't know. It just depends on what everyone says about it.
Tom McCafferty says, did you ever read Stephen King's book Rage? If so, what did you think of it? No, I've not.
No.
I've only read a few Stephen King books and enjoyed them for what they were, but they were like very much his older stuff. So I don't know about Rage. Night King 01 says they cut out a bunch of stuff in Wanted. Drinker, it's a completely different premise. Shouldn't even be called Wanted. And yes, James McAvoy is terrible. Yeah, I very much agree. I don't know about McAvoy being terrible, but they did cut a lot out. Paul 2KB says, Force Awakens is an Unbridled Rage is honestly one of the most enjoyable YouTube videos that I've ever listened to. Thanks for the hilarious, great content, guys.
Dude, you know what's so fucking nuts about that video? Rage, Force Awakens. I don't know if you remember this, but I always look back and I'm just like, what? It is, come on, YouTube, what are you doing? Oh yeah, 40 minutes long.
Oh, really? Damn.
How did I make that?
By your standards.
I mean, to be fair, the TLJ one's like half an hour. But yeah, the further back you go, the shorter of a man I am, apparently.
Yeah. Well, your Resident Evil ones are like broken up into like 20-minute segments or something. It's like...
dude, that's crazy short days. Okay, we don't talk about them short days.
It's like I'm ashamed of my shortness back then. Thunderstorm says, did I like Doctor Strange 2 because it was good or because Wanda was killing poorly written characters? I mean, you shouldn't really like it for that, but yeah, the characters were shit, so it's almost like I was just ambivalent about them dying, really. Ken13 says, thoughts on John Carpenter's The Thing? Keep it up, Drinker and MauLer. I mean, I did a whole review on The Thing, so yeah, I really like it.
One of the best movies of all time. One of the best horror. I think I usually end up picking it for best horror movie of all time.
Yeah. Jackman B99 says, how do you feel about Wes Anderson films? Childish and colourful, but the Grand Budapest Hotel is fantastic and different from your usual reviews. So, yeah, I haven't seen the Grand Budapest Hotel, actually. Yeah, I've heard a lot about it, but I never got around to watching it myself. So, yeah, it might be an interesting
one. I don't remember having many feelings about it. So that's all I got to say.
Yeah.
It was, Wes Anderson films are always like this. You look around when they're playing, but they're strange films, narratively speaking.
Yeah. Comrade Commissar Yuri says, Drinker, like good interweaving storylines. I guess you're asking me if I like them. Yes, I do. May suggest the worst verse written by Joshua Wagner and narrated by Nature's Temper here on YouTube. Okay, good recommendation then. Shaker Silver says, you will consume from the assembly line. Film is dead. Yeah, art is dead. Uneven Streets says, the Daredevil Born Again show has me worried because season 3 of the Netflix show was already heavily inspired by the Frank Miller comic.
Yeah, okay. Good luck. Good fucking luck, Daredevil fans. That one's going to be tough.
Taker 610. Remember when Phase 4 was announced and the only thing that sounded interesting was Multiverse of Madness? We need to ask an echo. Oof.
Dude, yeah. I remember saying to myself, because like you remember back then it was still Scott Derrickson who was going to make it, and it was going to be a horror film. And then they were like, over time they were like, less so about horror actually. And like what it ended up being, I think, is more horror comedy than horror.
Oh, very much. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you bring Raimi and you're going to get that kind of Evil Dead horror comedy approach.
Yeah, but you gotta let him go full throttle. You gotta let him be Army of Darkness style. You can't, shaft him.
If they just said, right, okay, we're not going to make a huge amount of money off this, but we'll do a sort of lower budget, R-rated, Sam Raimi, full-on Evil Dead style, Doctor Strange. How awesome would that have been? What could have been, Thomas Romero says, will you ever give Berserk a go? Yeah, I just need to find time to watch it. It features an amazing complex story with a protagonist who feels human, and will you watch the Avatar movies?
I think everybody probably will if they're culturally impactful, or nobody will give a shit. It's like...
Well, I don't know if you're talking about the Avatar, like the Airbender ones.
Oh, no, they're probably talking about James Cameron ones, right?
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, look, I reviewed the first one, so I owe it to myself, I suppose, to watch the second one and see where it goes. Like, there's that part of me that's still got that lingering loyalty to James Cameron, but man, it gets stretched a little bit more with each passing year. I think sometimes, filmmakers peak, and Ridley Scott's probably an example of that, and I suspect James Cameron might go the same way, but maybe not. James Moore says, BioShock is interesting, which is why it frustrates me when everyone focuses on Andrew Ryan and says that he's bad, but completely ignores that he's pushed to the point because of Fontaine's terrible actions.
Do you remember BioShock?
He's an idealist, isn't he? And, that's kind of... crime initially was like a bit of hubris and naivety about human nature.
He's fascinating as a character, Andrew Ryan. He really believes in a particular set of rules would make for a perfect society, but then Fontaine beats Andrew out in terms of the free market. He's offering something that people are more interested in, because Andrew and him compete with the plasmids, and then you find audio diaries where Andrew Ryan is like, look, for the sake of the stability of the civilization, we have to, let's say, put a thumb on the scale. And he betrays his principles because he thinks that it's for the greater good, which is basically the story of every civilization falling apart. I guess, and that's why I like Bioshock. I don't think if someone said Bioshock's point is that Ayn Rand is a fucking retard, I'd be like, I think it's a little bit more complicated, and it's a lot more about human nature. And that's, yeah, I think you kind of cracked it earlier when you were saying that. Like, I find that these stories that do cover stuff like this, controversial political angles, like it's usually when they dig into the actual humans behind it and their failings and what creates these scenarios. Like, that's what I find interesting.
Yeah. Well, I think there's universal ideas to be explored with all this stuff, like the corrupt nature of human society, and the temptation of power, wealth, whatever it might be, and like the desire to do good but do bad things in the process. All this stuff is extremely universal, and it can be applied to anything. That's when it becomes interesting. When it becomes tedious is when it's just, we're literally going to take stuff that's happening right now and reflect it straight into our story and tell you exactly how you should feel about it. Like, that's just garbage. That's shit writing. David Dunnan says, why have you never reviewed weird movies like The Box with Cameron Diaz or Southland Tales with The Rock? Not your thing. Well, I mean, I guess the problem is that there's like 10 million movies out there, and I've only got time to review a tiny fraction of them. And yeah, I just haven't got around to it yet.
Yeah.
What can I say? Hesky Ninja says, thoughts on the new Wakanda Forever movie? Yeah, I think we covered that a little bit earlier. The trailer made it seem pretty respectful to Chadwick and his memory. Don't love Shuri as a character, so I can't say I'm terribly enthusiastic about her being Black Panther now. But, it's not made for me. It needs to be just another cultural moment. I'm sure they're just going to try to recapture lightning in a bottle.
Woohoo.
Night King 01 says, I completely agree with you. I meant that someone like Stanley Kubrick explored both sides of politics with the point of view scenes of the soldiers' interviews. They used to be subtle. That's all I meant. Okay, that's fair play. Colton Lynch says, I wonder how delusional do you have to be to keep writing woke trash over and over, only for it to keep failing? Also, what is your opinion on diversity quotas like race, women, men on jobs? Well, I'm not in favor of quotas of any kind, really. I think you should just hire people based on merit. When you do anything else, you sacrifice quality, and I think that's why movies partly are ending up the way they are.
So, I need to leave for about 10 minutes, but is that going to be the end of the the messages by then, or?
It might bring us to the end, yeah, because I think we're almost there.
I'll come back as soon as I can, but I might not make it before you hit the end.
No, that's fine, man. If I'm finished by then, obviously I'll just finish up and close it off. But yeah, thanks for joining me tonight either way.
Okay. Like I said, I'll be back as soon as I can.
All right, thanks, man. NZB fan says, any thoughts on a possible future Bad Boy Bobby review? You just have to get past the first 20 minutes. I'd be really interested in your take. I don't know about that, man. I'll have to wait and see. David Cochran says, hey, Drinker, love your reviews. What are your thoughts on DW's newest film, Terror on the Prairie? Okay, Daily Wires. Do you think Daily Wire is on the right path with their movies? So I need to watch Terror on the Prairie, and I'm planning to do it and review it because I'm interested to see what they've done with it. Yeah, I mean, they're producing films that I guess are going against the Hollywood grain. I'm very much in favor of like smaller studios like having a shot at this. Yeah, I don't know enough about like Terror on the Prairie as a piece of art, and I've deliberately stayed away from it because I don't want that to like influence my opinion of it when I do watch it. But yeah, I like the fact that they're doing this. I just hope that they maintain the focus on quality and good storytelling, because I think there's so many people within Hollywood that would happily migrate over to things like the Daily Wire to start writing for them and producing movies for them, directing for them. They just don't want to get away from that garbage that they have to put up with. So if they can make a go of this, great. Alyosha says, Drinker, check the regs in Florida, but you should be able to legally go to a gun range and rent a gun, possibly even full auto. Yeah, you can. I know because I've done it. It's great fun. Yeah, you just go in, you get to pick your guns and go into the range and let rip. So I'm going to be there for a week. So fingers crossed I can set aside a bit of time and get to a gun range and do a bit of shooting, because it's always good fun. Love it. Maxwell Washulz says, "Hey guys, did you hear about Nolan's recently announced Oppenheimer film?" Yes. Also, if you could choose a historical event or figure to make a movie about, ideally one that's never had a movie made about it. Christ, I mean, it feels like pretty much every historical figure's had it done by this point. Yeah. Someone that's not had a movie done about them already. Yeah, everyone that's coming to mind that's already had some kind of coverage already. Yeah, like sportsmen, political figures, explorers, you name it. They've probably had a film made about them. Yeah, there's not really one I can think of right now that hasn't been done already. Wing Zero says, thoughts on the animated Resident Evil films and Infinite Darkness series versus the horrible live-action remakes and TV show counterparts. Yeah, so the animated films are generally meh. That's the best way I can describe them. Like, they never really gripped me, and they feel like weirdly disconnected. Like, there's no real sense of danger or anything. But you know, they retain the spirit of the Resident Evil games, and they actually have recognizable characters in them. So, you know, there's something to them. But man, they lack a bit in terms of tension, I suppose. Wayland Pacificus says, the Pacific versus Band of Brothers. Band of Brothers is superior, in my opinion. The Pacific, I had real trouble telling who anyone was. They all just kind of merged together into a big mass of characters. And yeah, I didn't find the action as compelling. Band of Brothers, I fucking loved it. It's a fantastic show. Daniel Monroe says, part 3, self-publishing. I accepted that they would be less help advertising as I'm a nobody when I took this journey. But fuck it, that it is what it is. If you have a story to tell, then you'll find a way. I mean, I guess so, yeah. You just want to see, I guess, a bit of return on what you do. I think I'm pretty much finished there. I'll just do a couple more and then finish up. Claudia Rogajan says, it's amazing that Terminator 2 is as good as it is, considering it repeats almost every major scene, just with some things changed. Yeah, I mean, it's just repeating the same concepts, but with a bigger budget and, you know, slicker visuals and everything. But I think it does continue the story for Sarah. And now that John's on the scene and, you know, she's got a son to protect, I think it does a pretty good job of like making it its own unique thing as well. Also, Claudia Rogajan, it's more fair to say that James McAvoy was just miscast in Wanted. You don't look at that man and think that that's a loser like Wesley Gibson in the comic. That's fair, yeah. David Cochran says, the best Stephen King book that I ever read was The Shining. Most disappointing Stephen King I ever read was Pet Sematary. Fair play. It was probably my favorite, but I think that's pretty much a standard one. Claudia Rogajan says, just wanted to say they're calling the new Daredevil show Born Again. Born Again is the best Daredevil story, and it's dark and depressing as hell. It's the destruction of Matt Murdock, not happy at all.
Hello.
Depends if they do it justice, I suppose. Oh, hey, man, you back?
I think there's a reason they chose Born Again that goes well beyond any intentions to adapt well the comic. It's too tempting to use as a name, right? It's a famous and well-loved comic name for Daredevil, and Born Again, moving from like the Netflix seasons, going on hiatus, and then coming back. Oof, that's too tempting.
Struck them as well.
Yeah, well, I just be very afraid what they're going to do to him. I hope it goes well.
Night King 01. Yeah, says, you guys like David Lynch films since he is so abstract rather than conventional narratives. Also, didn't he call out Twin Perfect's Twin Peaks video?
Did he? That would be hilarious. Twin Perfect is did you ever see that? Did I ever show you Twin Perfect when he came on EFAP? He was funny as fuck.
No.
He couldn't. What happened? His position was like, all the Snyder films are genius, and we just asked him like some basic questions about his arguments, and they started to fall apart, and then he just like started to refuse to commit to any answers because he didn't want to have to be forced into a corner, and it fucking drove Rags nuts. It was funny as hell
to watch that. But yeah, like David Lynch in general, I'm not a massive fan of his style. He's very weird, very abstract. You know, films like Eraserhead, not really a big winner for me, I'm afraid, but like each to their own, I suppose. Rob Robinson says, used to watch Are You Being Served with my grandmother on PBS in the States. She would laugh so hard that her teeth would fall out. Miss her. Are You Being Served is pretty good. Beeble Brox says, Drinker MauLer. Also, hi, American Rags. Thanks.
Okay.
Claudio Rogajan. Andrew Ryan made an environment where it was possible for a man like Fontaine to thrive, so he engineered his own downfall in a way.
For sure, yeah.
It's like laissez-faire capitalism, wasn't it, that he practiced?
Yeah, and the plasmids were less and less regulated, so they just started to, create drug addicts and just horrors. The whole civilization was falling apart.
Yeah.
Adam.
Susan Dolan says, how much trouble is MCU's Ironheart going to be in when the porno company discovers Riri is a plagiarized version of their Ironheart porno flick? Damn. That's bad stuff, but I must have a look to do some research. Claudia Rogajan. Also, I love how Andrew Ryan is voiced by Principal Snyder from Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
That's true. He also did the voice of Dr. Nefarious in Ratchet and Clank.
That Nobody Guy says, The Art of Action is Scott Adkins' channel. My mistake. I'm drunk. That's all right. We're all drunk. So, fair play. Marshall Broyles, give me $10. Thank you, man. What says, have you heard of the new CW horror movie with Kevin Bacon called They Them? Yeah, I haven't heard about this.
I've heard of it, yeah.
The tagline is horror knows no gender. Not kidding. Fucking hell. It's got to be a parody. It's got to be. I keep telling myself that, but I know it's not true.
We're in a weird world, man.
And last of all, James Moore, who says, and just because, what do you think of the overall story arc for the Resident Evil series? Only the games, including the side ones, so far. It's been a series of experimentation, I think, and going down different paths, realizing they've gone the wrong way, backstepping, and finding a better way.
It's a pretty garbled selection of things that some of it really works, some of it less so, and you take what you can get.
I love the original PlayStation 1 trilogy. You get into that realm of Code Veronica and stuff. Yeah, I didn't like that. RE4, great game in its own right, but then it took the series down that action, over-the-shoulder, cover-based shooter path, which almost destroyed it. And then with RE7, it's like, all right, let's get right back to something really simple and basic and just do, the classic RE formula again. And then Resident Evil 8 was a bit of a mess. And the gothic horror stuff, I don't know if I love that aspect of it. But hey, it is what it is. It's why we love Resident Evil, because it's so fucking goofy. But yeah, we've made it. We made it to the end.
I think like 5 more have come in since.
I'm not doing it. I can't keep doing this. It's like 1 a.m. here, and I'm tired.
What do you mean it's nice and early?
And I'm sorry if there's 1 or 2 that have come in right at the end there that I've missed, but I need to go to sleep at some point, and that point is now. So I want to thank everyone for joining us, though, for this tonight. It's been great. MauLer, it's been lovely drinking with you, as always, and random stuff.
The barman's kicking us out.
You guys are awesome. I appreciate you for doing all this work. And thanks, guys. And yeah, that's it. I think we're done. What do you reckon?
I guess so. See you later, folks.
All right. Bye. Go away.
Bye.
See you in Florida.